Going live now. Any second now.
Oh, Elric, I like the shirt.
Oh, yeah, right. Is it still reopening?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Not.
Whenever LA opens?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, and welcome to Scripts Gone Wild, your weekly excuse to ruin your liver for charity. I am your host, Billy Ray Bruton, and with me this week, filling in for Dave Lawson, is the co-host of the Screen Drafts podcast and Vidiots Trivia, Mr. Clay Keller. Clay, welcome back.
Thank you, Billy Ray. Thank you for having me.
Are you comfortable filling the enormous shoes of the currently intoxicated Dave Lawson?
Yes, I was a little bit nervous the last time I did this. Having done it, I'm even more nervous this time because it is an enormous responsibility, and Dave is a god among men. So I'm hoping I can just do my small part to keep this train going on the tracks here.
Well, that was a lovely thing you just said about Dave. I have to think it had to have been prompted by some sort of bribe.
I no comment.
Well, so right off the bat, a heads up, Dave isn't here because he has got a jam-packed night with the Chattanooga Film Festival, which is partnered with Microsoft for a kick-ass 4-day festival going on right now, actually. And on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be back with another Scripts Gone Wild. We'll be getting drunk yet again. God help us. We're reading John Carpenter's The Thing with Barbara Crampton reading McCready and featuring Tracy Toms, Carolyn Williams, Chris Cargill, Drew McWeeny, Bria Grant, all sorts of fun people. So if you want to check that out or any of the other awesome CFF content, you can visit chatfilmfest.org or you can visit our website for more information. That is scriptsgonewild.com. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already and like this video because that would be cool. So this week we are drunk diving headfirst into Tom Holland's classic Child's Play. And we are raising money for Art House America, which is a charity that was created during COVID-19 to help support the struggling art house theaters all across the country. You might know their GoFundMe campaign, which they shut down about a week and a half ago, but they are still accepting donations. So we're encouraging you now or during the read to make a donation. You can do that at paypal.me/scriptsgonewild. Or if you just prefer Venmo, you can just Venmo us at Scripts Gone Wild. And this week, we actually have an angel donor who has volunteered to match any donations that are made. So if you donate $50, they'll donate $50. If you donate $5,000, they'll donate $5,000.
Wow.
And so that's an awesome thing. We'll be reminding you throughout the read. That's going to be one of Clay's jobs, right, Clay? That's a yes.
Got it.
So if you're not watching this
watching
live, if you're watching this later, the matching funds are good for 72 hours. So anything we raise in 72 hours, they will match. Also, just for the fun of it, whoever makes the single largest donation gets a prize. We're going to send you a collector's edition Blu-ray of Child's Play, and we're going to send you a free Scripts Gone Wild t-shirt. But the note is the t-shirts will not be available to be shipped until late June. So you'll get a Blu-ray and you'll get a t-shirt. And the t-shirts are going to be kind of awesome. So that's enough blabber from me about all of that shiz. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful readers. We have Julie Benz.
Hi.
We have William Butler.
Hello.
Dr. Rebekah McKendry.
Hello.
Ryan Turek.
Hey.
Elric Kane.
Hey.
Chelsea Stardust.
Hi there.
Josh Forbes.
Hey, everybody.
Caleb Ward.
Yeah.
Christian Stella.
I shouldn't have ate soup before this.
Jared Rivet.
Hello.
And Brian Gillespie.
Hey.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yay.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
Love
Quick show
Hollywood
of hands.
squares.
Who's all seen, dumb question, but who's all seen Child's Play? Oh, wow. Oh, not everybody. I like that. I like it when not everybody has seen it.
Haven't
Well, you're in for a treat. Even though the script is markedly different from the film, which we're going to find out very soon. Scripts Gone Wild is a drinking game. If any of our readers messes up a line, flubs it, does anything that we can construe as a mistake, they have to take a drink. Our social media audiences choose social words. Whenever those words are spoken by a reader, everybody takes a drink. It doesn't count if I say the word in the stage direction. It only counts if one of the readers says it. And those 2 words tonight are, God help us, Chucky and bitch. It's going to be a rough one.
Which is in the stage direction a lot, apparently.
Yes, a lot. And
Yeah.
our Patreon subscribers, they choose they choose a line from the script. It's usually a popular line or just something that everybody's familiar with. And when we get to that line in the script, everybody has to finish whatever drink is in their hands, whether it's a couple sips or a fresh pour. And that line is, "Hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play?" And we will cue the readers when we get to that line, so they have to finish whatever they have. So, pace yourself, guys. That way, maybe you're not drinking an entire beer or an entire cocktail when we get to that line, because it can be a killer.
Yeah.
The worst was during Rear Window, where our line was like one of the first lines in the script. So everybody had a full drink. It was a rough one. Does anybody have any questions before we dive into this read?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. You're a very sedate group right now. We'll see how it is in about 15 minutes. Okay, well, we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into Child's Play, written by Tom Holland.
Woo!
Woo.
Yeah.
That's right. Exterior street. A lone woman steps out of the bar. The neighborhood isn't too good. She's obviously a little drunk. Oh, yeah, she is. Her features are hidden by her scarf and the darkness. She starts to walk down the street. A black van turns the corner behind her and slows it as it approaches, cruising along behind her for several moments as though the occupants are checking her out. It stops. A man gets out behind her. His name is Charles Lee Ray. He's late 30s, cadaverous, with deep, sunken, mad eyes. He falls into step behind her, and the van speeds up and passes, turning the corner. The woman becomes aware that she is being followed. She picks up her pace, and grinning, Ray picks up his. He enjoys this. She passes an alley, suddenly leaps forward, grabbing her and dragging her into it. He whips out a knife, holding it up to her throat, grinning at her. He has a speech defect that causes him to hiss like a snake, spit flecking the... Well, there we go already.
Drink.
Spit flecking the corners of his mouth.
Okay, bitch.
Drink.
Show me what you look like.
Oh man.
That's right.
Quick.
The woman suddenly rips away her scarf, revealing the hardened features of a man in his mid-30s. Mike Norris, New York City cop. He grins at Ray.
What do you think? Am I pretty enough for you?
Before the killer can react, Mike knees him. Ray drops to the ground, holding his nuts and groaning. Mike strips off the dress, shucking the high heels as he reaches into his purse for a pair of sneakers. He sighs in pleasure as he slips them on.
God, that feels good.
Ray suddenly erupts to life, rising and slamming your garbage can into Mike. The cop goes down as the killer tears out of the alley. Ray races down the street and around the corner, and Mike is right behind him, yelling to the police wire he wears.
I've got him. Corner of 31st and 3rd.
Jack Santos, late 20s, Mike's partner, a New York City Italian, starts the car as he hears the words coming over the receiver on the set. The cop car squeals away from the curb and tears down the street, and Mike races around the corner after Ray, pulling out his gun and yelling at the escaping felon.
Stop!
Ray rolls on the run and snaps off a shot at him. Mike fires back, the bullet catching Ray in the leg. The killer goes down, scrambling back to his feet as Mike races down the street after him. Ray screams at the black van as the dogs bark in the background, up ahead, idling at the curb.
Eddie, help me!
Eddie Caputo, 30, a smaller, washed-out version of Ray, sticks his head out the window, glancing back at his partner. Ray is limping madly down the street, Mike racing up behind him. Jack screeches around the corner of his police car, roaring down the street towards the black van, his bubble machine going, the siren wailing. Eddie sees the cop car coming and forgets about his partner laying rubber to get out of there. Ray picks up his pace, running after the black van as it squeals away from the curb and tears down the street.
Eddie, don't leave me!
But it's useless. The van has already disappeared around the corner of the cop car in hot pursuit. Ray looks back at the cop behind him, and Mike is gaining fast. He fires a shot at him, forcing him to take cover behind a parked car. Ray ducks into a doorway. Mike looks up from behind the car, yelling to the killer.
Give it up, Ray. It's all over.
In the doorway, Ray ignores him, shooting the lock off the door and pushing his way inside. Mike leaps up from behind the car, diving after him. Ray lips down an aisle, Mike bursting through the door behind him. Ray returns and fires. Mike fires back, the bullet catching the killer squarely in the chest, a mortal wound. Ray spins, somehow manages to keep his balance and staggers down the aisle. Mike goes after him, skidding to a halt to find himself at an intersection of 4 aisles, all equally empty. Ray has eluded him. He begins to stalk him through the silent aisles, gun ready, toys staring down at him from everywhere. Ray staggers down another aisle, holding his chest, mumbling to himself in growing desperation.
Find someone. Gotta find someone.
Billy Ray, are you going to read this direction, or
I am now. I am now.
Okay.
That's an example of one that I might skip. He stops, staring down at the spreading bloodstain across his chest in horrified disbelief.
He killed me. You hear me, asshole? You killed me. I'm going to get you for this.
Mike stops in the aisle, whirling about, trying to figure out where the voice is coming from.
I'm going to get you and Eddie no matter what.
And he will. The voice dies off into silence, trying to ignore what he's just heard, trying to repress the shiver running up his spine. Mike starts down the aisle again. Ray staggers down another aisle, stumbling and falling, and he pulls down a rack on top of him. He finds himself surrounded by dolls. Play Pal dolls, a boy's best friend, the boxes read. Happy plastic freckled faces grin out at the killer from under cellophane coverings. Ray slowly grins back. He fumbles one of the boxes open, clamping his sweaty palm to the forehead of the doll, raising his voice in a ritualistic chant.
Oh, Dambala, Satiria, Shango, Mukamba.
In another aisle, Mike pauses and listens.
Give me your power so I can avenge myself on my enemies.
Mike grips his gun tighter and moves down the aisle, searching for the source of the chant.
Navo merce dubois, chayot zecoy enten maspoi de morte.
Huge black clouds suddenly start rolling in the sky, thunder booming and lightning crackling. It seems to be centered directly above the toy store, because that's normal. Mike pauses, staring out the window. Rain is beginning to pour down, a terrible wind whipping down the street. Lightning flashes, turning into day. He tries to ignore it, following the sound of that terrible chant. Ray lies in the aisle, his chant still building, the palm pressed against the forehead of the doll.
Mortisma lu de vosier de me vosier.
Mike stops in the aisle, turned towards the windows as the thunder outside reaches a deafening crescendo.
Endu por de buziet damala.
He finishes in a gurgle of blood. A huge bolt of lightning snakes down the storm cloud, striking the toy store in an explosion of electricity and light. Mike throws his hands over his head and dives for the floor as the windows explode, a million shards of glass flying, a huge wind howls. Then as suddenly as it came, it dies away, dropping off to nothing, the store alarm ringing. He struggles to his feet and runs down the aisle, jumping over the debris, trying to find Charles Lee Ray. He turns a corner and skids to the halt. Ray lays on the floor dead, surrounded by piles of dolls. What a way to go. There is something horribly disconcerting about the killer, even in death. Mike stares at him, trying to figure it out. Then he realizes what it is. Ray wears a big shit-eating grin death mask. New York City, day. The city is in the grip of a gray, wintry day. All is still at this hour. The tinny, God damn it.
Drink.
The tinny sound of an early morning TV cartoon show is heard.
I've got no friends. No one will play with me.
It's a nice quiet.
All right, now a warning.
It's a nice quiet street. Go!
Hey, cheer up. Who are you?
It's the top 6th-floor apartment in the building, messy in a nice lived-in way. A handwritten "Happy Birthday, Andy" banner is strung across the ceiling. Andy's there watching TV. The Play Pal animated doll on the screen wears a rainbow-colored shirt, blue overalls, and red sneakers. He also has a huge permanent freckled grin on his face. We have seen this doll before. It is the same doll Charles Lee Ray chanted over as he died. This ain't gonna be good.
I'm your Play Pal. I've come from Play Pal Clubhouse. I'll be your friend till the end. You will?
Andy Barclay, 6 years old today, pops his head out of the doorway to the kitchen watching the TV. He's an average-looking kid with unruly hair and eyes as big as saucers. He also wears Play Pal PJs.
Oh, I saw this one.
He disappears back inside the kitchen as the Play Pal and little Billy skip down the cartoon street together. The Play Pal jingle playing, child's voice singing, "When you're down and feeling blue, Play Pal will always be there for you," something like that. Andy is dividing his attention between making breakfast and trying to watch the Play Pal show. He pops some bread in the toaster. He dumps brightly colored Play Pal Sugar Loop cereal. And he basically, he's making breakfast for his mom, and it is not going well. Really, the toast is burning. The cereal is poured over. That kid does not know how to make breakfast.
That's right, boys and girls. Always remember, your Play Pal will be your friend to the end. Now, stay tuned for a very important message.
Andy dives for the door to see what the announcer is talking about. Behind him, the bread begins to burn. See? What a little turd. As Andy sticks his head out the door, the cartoon segues into a live-action commercial, and this is it.
Hi, PayPals. Boy, have I got PayPal news for you. Not PayPal, PlayPal.
Like to donate to our charity, you can do so at paypal.me/scriptsgonewild. Continue.
Hi, PayPals! Boy, have I got PlayPal news for you. Now you can have your very own PlayPal doll. That's right. You can have all the adventures that we have on TV in your very own home. PlayPals say 3 different sentences. Vitamin and Vegemin. PlayPals say 3 different sentences. We even turn our heads and blink our eyes when you talk to us. Isn't that right, friend? I'm Oscar, and I love you.
Wow.
Behind his head, smoke drifts through the door from the kitchen. He smells it and goes back inside. He grabs it, shaking it, and the toast pops out. It's burnt to a crisp, still smoking.
Every PlayPal has a name all of his own, so he can be your own special friend. So remember to tell Mom and Dad that you want a PlayPal. Perfect for birthdays or just any old time.
Andy's still doing his thing, and the commercial's still playing.
Jesus Christ. Think what fun we'll have, because you and I will be friends till the end.
He and the doll both break up laughing, and the commercial disappearing to be replaced by a newscaster.
Now for the 7 o'clock news break.
Andy whirls, dashing for the hall with the tray in his hand, calling out to his mother.
Hey, Mommy.
Andy hurries down the hall, the tray bouncing in his hands, the milk from the cereal bowl sloshing all over the sides onto the burnt toast and soaking it. The announcer's voice follows him down the hall.
Charles Lee Ray, the Bayside Strangler, was shot and killed shortly before 3 a.m. this morning.
Hey, Mommy, wake up.
Karen's bedroom. He plops the tray down on the night table and leans over, hitting the clock radio. Easy listening, FM comes on. The bundle stirs and a hand flops out, and that's all. Andy shakes it.
Mommy, wake up.
Slowly, the other hand lifts the sheet, and Karen Barclay, Andy's mother, peers out. She's a nice-looking woman around 30. She cracks a sleep-filled eye at the clock.
Andy, it's 6:15 in the morning.
It's a beautiful day outside.
He pulls the curtains. It's bright as shit.
I'm sure it's lovely, but how long have you been up, birthday boy?
He looks at her, hopping back and forth from one foot to the other, hardly able to contain his excitement.
Since forever. Here, I made you breakfast in bed. Plop.
You did? Well, thank you.
She looks at the tray. It's garbage.
That's very sweet of you. I'll tell you what, I'll eat it later.
Oh, that's cold.
Happy birthday, pumpkin.
Thanks. Can we open my presents now, Mommy? Can we?
Sure. Just let me find my slippers.
Whoopee!
Living room. He races into the room, skidding to a halt before the biggest present, staring down at it, his mouth almost watering. Karen enters a moment later, tying her robe.
Can I open this first? Can I?
Eddie Caputo, Ray's accomplice, was captured from the police 6 blocks from...
She turns the sound off.
Don't you want to start with the smaller present first? Okay, go ahead. Open it.
He tears it open with a vengeance, his face filled with expectation. It suddenly falls as he pulls it back and finds himself staring at 3 pairs of sturdy blue jeans.
I couldn't find another box to put them in, but they should fit you.
She pulls a pair out, holding them up to his waist, measuring the inseam with her eye.
What's wrong, Andy?
Nothing. They're great.
Oh, you wanted toys, didn't you? Not boring old clothes, right? Well, here, open this.
She hands him a smaller package. He looks at it skeptically. No way a PlayPal doll would ever fit in this. He tears it open anyway, and inside is a PlayPal lunchbox with the doll's smiling face grinning up at him.
Well, what do you think?
Andy turns, trying to smile, but he ain't buying this shit.
It's really neat, Mommy. Thanks.
Gives her a hug and a kiss, but he don't mean it.
Neat? Is that all it is? Just neat?
No, it's super duper neat.
Dweeb.
That's better. What's wrong, Andy?
Nothing.
Come on, tell me.
This is my first birthday without him, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Why can't he be here?
I told you he's up in heaven.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
I don't want Daddy up in heaven. I want him here.
This part is not in the film.
It's not.
They decided that part did not matter. In Andy's room, he races in it and throws himself on the bed, burying his face in a pillow. Karen enters a moment later, sitting on the bed and stroking his head.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I miss him too.
Andy looks up from underneath his pillow towards a framed picture on his bureau. Karen's gaze follows him. The picture is of Andy, Karen, and Andy's father, Bob. All three smiling at the camera and waving, obviously very happy together. Bob was a pleasant-looking, sandy-haired man.
I'll tell you what, Andy. How would you like a play pal for Christmas?
I'd love it.
Then that's what you'll have. Your very own play pal for Christmas. I promise.
Oh, thanks, Mommy. How long away is Christmas?
It'll be here before you know it, Andy. It'll be here before you know it.
New York, it's midday, the city jammed with tourists and workers, everybody hurriedly going about their business because that's all we think of about New York. Karen is busily checking stock at her best friend, Maggie Peterson, rushes up to her. Maggie is a bit older, mid-30s, with a raspy voice and a sharp sense of humor.
Karen, you know that doll you wanted for Andy, the one that cost over $100?
A play pal?
Yeah, whatever you call it. There's a peddler in the alley behind the store selling stuff, and I think he's got one.
What would a peddler be doing with a doll?
Who cares? Grab your purse and come on. We can get a deal on it.
Stop! Drink!
But I can't leave the cash.
Then come on. Oh God, I'm just fucking up left and right. And it's like my first.
Becca.
Don't worry, you get killed early.
Oh. Do you want that damn thing for Andy or don't you?
Yeah, of course I do.
Then come on.
She grabs her arm, dragging her towards the service stairs.
Dave, would you take over for me for a few minutes?
The two well-dressed clerk nods at Karen, and Maggie disappear down the service stairs. The two women emerge from the back service entrance into the alley and stop before a peddler, just as a couple of other female employees turn away, costume jewelry in their hands. The peddler is of indeterminate age, toothless, with the ruined face of a dedicated alcoholic.
Legit.
Has a duffel bag full of stuff thrown over his shoulder.
Go ahead. Show her.
He pulls out a play pal doll. It grins up at her from its cellophane-covered box, its freckled face with buttony blue eyes just dripping good cheer. Although Karen doesn't know it yet, this is Chucky. The box is crinkled and out of shape, stained with water damage.
Well, is it a play pal or not?
Yes, it is.
See, I told you. How much?
The peddler measures Karen's excited face with a mixture of shrewdness and greed and alcoholism.
$30.
10 and not a penny more.
Okay, 20.
Are you kidding me? That thing's not worth 20.
No, it's all right, Maggie. It's all right. I'll pay.
Hold on. How do we know the damn thing works?
You want it or not? If not, I'll find someone else to buy it.
Here.
She offers him the money. He snatches it.
Done. May it bring you and your kid a lot of joy.
He throws his duffel bag over the shoulder and starts down the alley for the street, probably headed towards a liquor store since he is a dedicated alcoholic.
Hold on. How do we know the damn thing isn't stolen?
The peddler flips her the bird. Oh, peddler.
Oh, shoot.
Drink.
You know it's not stolen? Where? How? Oh, up yours, lady!
I think I dated him.
Oh, Maggie, Andy's going to be so happy.
Karen and Maggie emerge from the service stairs into the specialty kitchenware department the specialty kitchenware department. They find the floor manager, Mr. Criswell, waiting for them. He is a small, fat man with very clean fingernails.
Miss Barclay, so nice of you to drop by. Have a nice break.
I'm sorry, Mr. Criswell. I was only gone for a minute.
Have a heart, Criswell. We were just downstairs buying our little boy a birthday present.
We have specified break times for activities like that, Miss Peterson. Mrs. Howe has taken sick, and we're shorthanded tonight. You'll have to fill in for her.
I can't. I have to pick Andy up at the daycare center in an hour.
I'm sorry, but this is an emergency.
I'll take over for her.
Miss Peterson, you work in shoes, not kitchen supplies. Just simply have to do it, Mrs. Barclay. You can take off at 5. but you have to be back at 7.
But I'll never get a babysitter at this hour.
Don't worry, I'll watch Andy for you.
Oh, would you, Maggie?
Sure, why not? It's the hottest date I've been on in months.
I can't imagine why. Thank you, Mrs. Barclay. Both I and the store appreciate it.
He wobbles off.
Asshole.
Elementary school playground. Karen steps through the gate into the playground, stopping to watch several children playing tag under the supervision of their young teacher, Mrs. Waters. Andy sits alone against a fence, staring out at nothing because that's weird. Karen walks over to the teacher.
Hello, Mrs. Waters. How's Andy been today?
Just fine.
Karen turns to look at her son sitting all alone. The sight obviously troubles her.
It takes time to recover from the death of a parent, Mrs. Barclay. But that's all he needs. Time.
Thanks, Mrs. Waters. I need a little reassurance every now and then. Well, hello, champ. You ready to go home?
Sure.
He dispiritedly climbs to his feet, puts his hand on hers, and starts to walk across the playground towards the street, comatose.
How was your day?
Okay.
You have your new lunch pail?
Uh-huh.
They walk down the street towards her not very new Honda.
I may have something to go with it.
What?
You'll just have to wait till we get home to find it.
Where is it?
Let's find out.
Up, drink! She caught herself.
Where is it?
Where is it? It's in the trunk of the car.
He opens the front door for him, but
Actually, it says in the trunk of the car.
The writer
Script has
drinks.
the drink. The script has the drink.
In the trunk of the car.
I think somewhere Tom Holland has to drink.
Yeah, Tom
Holland. He's
probably
staring at the
is
trunk,
somewhere.
wondering what's under it.
Is it a play pal, Mom? Is it, huh? Is it?
You'll just have to wait till we get home to find out.
Oh, Mom.
The faster we get home, the faster you'll find out.
He leaps inside the car and they take off. In the apartment, a key turns and Andy bursts through the door and he turns to Karen expectantly as she enters.
We're home, Mom.
I know, darling.
She turns with a smile, pulling an oblong gift wrap package from a brown paper bag.
Happy birthday again, Andy.
Wow.
He whirls and races down the hallway into the living room with the gift. Karen smiles. She enters and sits down. He opens it, and guess what? There's Chucky's face smiling up through the cellophane.
A play pal. I knew it. I knew you'd get me one. Look at him, Mom. Just look at him.
Well, show me how he works.
Andy pushes the soft spot on the back of his head. Gears whir and Chucky's baby blue buttony eyes snap open. Andy looks at the doll, talking to him.
Hi, I'm Andy. What's your name?
Chucky's head swivels.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Drink.
Why?
Oh,
Because that's what Billy Ray said. It's not my fault, William.
You're ruining my flow, dude. I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend till the end. Heidi ho!
well, isn't he something?
Yeah, I'm your friend too. Heidi ho! Ha ha ha!
Where did you learn that?
From Play Pals. Oh, Mom, thanks.
He throws himself into her arms, forgetting all about his dead father.
You play with Chucky, and I'll be right back.
Drink.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Dusk is turning to night as she stops before the door. She turns on the light, unlocking it to find Maggie standing there.
Oh, I forgot. Maggie, come on in. Oh, is that for Andy? You shouldn't have, Maggie.
Nonsense. What else am I going to do with all my money? How did the doll go over?
Oh, just great.
Andy bursts through the door.
Maggie, look what Mom gave me.
Look at him. He's big, isn't he?
He talks and everything.
He does.
You're not going to believe this doll.
Say something to Aunt Maggie, Chucky.
Drink.
Drink.
Oh, Jesus.
Hi, I like to be hugged.
Well, he certainly does talk, doesn't he? Look, another birthday present for you.
Thanks, Aunt Maggie.
Why can't all men be that nice?
Oh, Mom, look.
He pulls out an automatic battery-powered squirt gun that looks just like a real AK-47 scaled down to a child size. That's a good gift. Maggie.
Oh, Maggie, why did you have to give him a gun of all things?
Hey, it's a cold, cruel world out there. Better he start learning how to defend himself now. Right, Tiger?
Right. Bang, 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 bang.
If she hadn't died, she would have gone on to be Secretary of Education. He starts playing make-believe, like he's shooting Maggie. She throws up her arms and staggers back against the wall like she's been hit.
Oh, no, you got me.
Maggie, would you stop it? Oh no, 6:45. I'm going to be late for work. There's leftover stew in the stove. I've made some salad. It's in the fridge.
We'll be fine. You just sell those kitchenwares and make Criswell happy.
You're a real friend. You know that, Maggie?
Yeah, I know. Even if you do like Rambo better than Mr. Rogers. Even if I do. Even if I like Rambo better than Mr. Rogers.
All right, now you be good and do what Aunt Maggie tells you, and I'll be home as early as I can.
What about Chucky?
Drink.
Don't you want to kiss?
Take a quick break and let's cheer for our medical professionals.
Yay!
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And now, take that line again, Andy.
What about Chucky? Don't you want to kiss him goodnight too?
Sure. Good night, Chucky.
I'm gonna keep
Gives the
this
doll
real
a
close.
kiss and slips out the door.
Well, what do you say? How about some Irish stew?
Hey, want to play?
Yeah, let's play.
He runs down the hall with a squirt gun.
Bang, bang, bang.
Ah, to be young again.
Dinner is finished.
I'm about to get the kid drunk, aren't I? Just checking. Okay. Go, Aunt Maggie.
Aunt Maggie finishes cooking Irish stew. She's at the sink doing the last of the dishes. Over her shoulder through the doorway into the living room, Andy can be seen sitting on the floor in front of the TV, playing with Chucky in it. Turkey. And his squirt gun. He wears his worn Play Pal PJs. Andy drops the gun, picking up his slinky and entertaining his doll with it.
Want to see how my slinky works, Chucky?
Drink.
You just do like
Oh, boy.
this.
Jesus.
Runs it from hand to hand, ignoring the TV as suddenly the show is interrupted by a news break.
Eddie Caputo, reputed accomplice of Charles Lee Ray, the Bayside Strangler, just escaped from the...
Whoop.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Did we lose somebody?
Caleb, we cannot hear you.
He was on mute.
He's back now. No,
Fuck.
he's not.
No.
Yeah, there he is.
There you go. Fuck, my AirPods died. Eddie Caputo reported. All right.
You sound great now, though.
Better now.
Better.
10 times better than you did before.
That is not a good
million
advertising
times
for
better.
AirPods.
All right, here we go. Okay, I got it. Here we go. Eddie Caputo, reputed accomplice of Charles Lee Ray, the Bayside Strangler, has just escaped from the 34th Precinct Jail. More details on the 8 o'clock news next.
Chucky's head suddenly turns and stares at the TV. Andy looks at him, running the slinky from hand to hand.
Hey, Chucky, you're not watching me.
Drink. His eyes stay glued to the TV for an instant too long, almost as though he's watching.
Hi, I love you.
She is just finishing drying the dishes when she glances at her watch. She yells over her shoulder.
Time for bed, Scout.
Come on, Chucky. We got to get ready for bed.
I love descriptions like this. Maybe the doll says something. Maybe it doesn't. He's in the next room, drowns it out, but Andy can be seen stopping as though the doll said something to him and then leaning over to listen to him.
Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news.
God.
Sure he does.
She finishes the last dish, drops the towel, and goes into the living room. She snaps off the TV, scooping Andy in her arms and heading for the hallway.
Off we go, little man.
He suddenly comes alive in her arms, squirming and kicking, reaching back for Chucky left on the floor.
Chucky!
Drink.
Oh.
Good God.
Mm.
I keep thinking I'm messing up
yes.
lines.
Chucky.
She does a 180, grabs the doll off the floor, deposits him in Andy's arms. I hate that word, deposits, and carries both of them into the hallway. She carries the whole kit and caboodle down the hall toward Andy's bedroom.
And now, young man, it's brush your teeth and under the covers with you.
He drops him on the floor, Andy clutching Chucky, and she looks down at him gravely.
Agreed.
Andy nods.
Good. Yell when you're ready for me to tuck you in.
She leaves.
This is my room.
He walks around pointing shit out.
That's my train set. This is my electric car. This is my baseball bat and a jar of marbles. And there's my bicycle. Those are training wheels.
And this is a picture of my dead father.
This is my mom and dad, Bob. He died in a car wreck, but Mom and I loved him very much. That makes the car wreck better.
And there's a goldfish.
Oh, and this is Ralph. He likes to swim. Okay, you stay here while I brush my teeth and change.
Andy comes out of the bedroom, down the hall, and into the bathroom. Maggie looks up from stacking the dishes, yelling over her shoulder.
You brushing your teeth, young man?
Yes, Aunt Maggie.
Good.
She heads for the fridge to put the milk away when suddenly the TV blasts from the living room. She freezes, turning, looking toward the door in the room. She goes in and tuned to the 8 o'clock news. There's Chucky sitting in front of the TV, almost as though he's watching it.
Police say Caputo escaped from the jail bus on the way to his arraignment. A massive search has begun.
Maggie steps forward, clicking the set off. She picks up the doll and heads for the hall. She appears in the doorway behind Andy just as he finishes brushing his teeth.
Well, young man, what do you have to say about this?
About what?
Come on. You have to learn when I say something, I mean it.
What did I do?
He comes through the door carrying him and his doll over to the bed, and she drops them there.
You know very well what I'm talking about. Turning the TV on and putting Chucky in front of it when I told you it was time to go to bed.
I didn't do that.
Oh, no? What did Chucky do?
Drink.
Jesus.
Walk into the living room and turn it on by himself?
No, I guess not.
You better know it. Now under the covers, hurry.
But Auntie.
You heard me. Under the covers and not another word.
But I didn't put Chucky in front of the TV.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna die.
Enough already. Good night, Andy, and happy birthday.
Good night, Aunt Maggie. I feel like we need to say there's a question mark in the script on
Yes.
and happy birthday.
And happy birthday.
For the viewers at home. Good night, Aunt Maggie. I told you she'd be mad at you if you watched the news.
He gives Chucky a goodnight kiss, turns over, and goes to sleep. Chucky next to him in bed. The doll stares blankly up at the ceiling overhead. A moment passes, and suddenly his eyelids slam shut. It's later now, fewer lights in the apartment building. A cold wind begins to whistle. Maggie sits in the dark room, TV on low, reading a book. The door to Andy's room cracks open a couple of inches, and someone stares out of the darkness. Maggie looks towards the partially open window, pulling her sweater around her. She rises to close it. The door to Andy's room suddenly cracks open further, and someone darts out, racing down the hall. Whoever he isn't very tall. Perhaps Andy's height, perhaps a little shorter. It's hard to tell. From this perspective, the entire world seems quite huge. Whoever it is stops by the open door in the living room, peeking around the corner. He sees Maggie seated on the couch. Maggie whirls, looking toward the hallway, just in time to catch a glimpse of someone flashing by. The blur of colors are just right for a Play Pal outfit like the PJs Andy wears.
Andy?
No answer, just silence. She goes back to reading her book. Whoever he is grabs the chair from the phone table and drags it as quietly as possible across the floor till it's directly underneath the door. He climbs on it, reaching for the lock to open it. Maggie hears the click of it and whirls around, staring into the hallway.
Andy, is that you?
No answer. She steps into the hallway, looking down the door to Andy's room. It's open a bit. She turns, looking the other way, gasping at what she sees. The chair from the phone table has been moved to underneath the door. She walks down the hall, stopping by it, trying to figure out what is going on. She tries the door. It opens. The lock has been turned. She reaches up to relock it when she suddenly hears something crash on the floor behind her. She spins, staring through the doorway into the kitchen, the unlocked door forgotten for the moment. She steps into the room, flipping on the light. A sugar bowl lies broken on the floor, the white powder spread across the linoleum, and she looks at it, mumbling to herself.
Now, how did that happen?
The wall phone suddenly rings. Ring, ring.
Hello? I mean, hello.
How's Andy?
Karen?
Sure. Who else would it be? Is Andy okay?
Yes, fine.
Is something wrong?
No, I guess not.
You don't sound too sure. You all right?
Fine. Something strange happened, that's all. I'll tell you about it when you get home. See you then.
Maggie bends down and starts to clean the sugar up. Something moves behind the garbage can in the corner, and Maggie freezes, then slowly rises, looking at it. It's a large can, almost big enough to hide a small boy Andy's size. Okay.
Andy, if that's you behind there, I'm going to paddle your behind red.
She suddenly leaps forward, grabbing the can and pulling it away from the corner. She finds herself staring at a small mouse. It's as terrified as she, scurrying away while she watches. She laughs. Ha ha.
What's wrong with me? I'm scaring myself half to death.
She turns toward the kitchen counter, suddenly freezing, all the color draining from her face as she
drink. You drink, Billy Ray.
Color draining from her face as the expression turns to one of the deepest horror, and she screams. A heavy glass rolling pin smashes her across the face, blood flying as she stumbles backwards towards the window, her arms windmilling wildly as she tries to keep her balance. She hits the glass, going through it with a scream. She comes flying out the window in an explosion of breaking glass, screaming as she falls the 6 stories to the ground below, her body slamming into the top of the car with such force that it blows the front windshield and all 4 side ones out. A moment passes, and then the murder weapon, the rolling pin, comes flying out of the window, smashing to smithereens across a hopscotch court laid out so carefully in nice white chalk on the sidewalk. A few moments pass, and then Andy appears in the window, Chucky in his arms, staring down at Maggie's body below.
Maggie?
Maggie, out.
A not very nice Honda drives down the street. Out of her front windshield, the front of the building is turned into a circus. Basically, there are a lot of cops there, and she starts running out of her car. The elevator opens, and she hurries down the hall. The front door to the apartment is open, and she runs in.
Pardon me.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You can't go in there.
I live here.
She shoves him out of the way. She moves down the hallway, looking into the kitchen. It's crowded with men taking pictures. She continues down the hall, looking into the living room. 7 cops are sprawled out on the couch, taking their ease. A couple in the corner discussing their marital problems. They all look up at her. She continues down the hall, growing increasingly desperate. Andy, where's Andy? Panicked, she calls out for him.
Andy?
She looks in her room, empty. No one there, not even a cop. She suddenly hears him call her.
Mommy?
Karen whirls, staring down the hall. His bedroom, of course. Where else would he be? Dummy. She runs in that direction. Andy looks up from the bed as she bursts into the room, and Chucky seated beside him. Mike Norris is on the far side, and he watches as Andy leaps off the bed, flying into his mama's arms.
Oh, Andy, are you all right? I'm so glad. I was so scared when I saw all those policemen. Where's Maggie? By the way, it says all those policemen.
It does.
She had an accident, Mommy.
An accident? What kind of accident?
Mike Norris, Miss Barclay, homicide. Can we talk in a hall?
Why? What happened to Maggie?
Please.
They walk down the hall.
Miss Peterson's dead, Mrs. Barclay. She fell from her kitchen window.
Oh my God.
You all right?
Yes, I can't believe it. That's all.
Accidents happen, Mrs. Barclay, unless she had some reason to do it herself.
You mean suicide? No, never. Maggie loved life too much.
Yeah, I got that impression from Andy.
You've been questioning Andy.
Just talking to him a little, that's all.
You shouldn't be asking a 6-year-old questions about something like this.
I had to, Mrs. Barclay. He was the only other person in the apartment when it happened. Besides, there were loose ends.
What loose ends?
Come on, I'll show you.
He leads her down the hallway. Andy rises from his bed, coming out of the bedroom, following them down the hall with Chucky in his arms. Mike stops before the front door and nods at it.
The door was open when we arrived. Andy says he doesn't know how it got that way.
Maybe Maggie opened it.
And left it that way? That's an odd thing to do at this hour, don't you think? Especially in New York City.
I don't know, I guess so.
Did you talk to her at all tonight?
About an hour ago. She said something strange had happened, but she didn't say what.
Too bad.
The forensic people are just leaving as the three of them enter. Mike stops next to the counter, pointing at small red scuff marks on the white tile. They are distinctive crisscross patterns.
Any idea what these are?
No.
Odd, aren't they? They almost look like very small footprints.
He looks down at Andy's bare feet, which are also very small because he is a child.
What are you implying?
Nothing. I've already looked in his closet. He doesn't own a pair of red sneakers.
Andy, go to bed. I'll be there in a few minutes to tuck you in.
Mommy, is Aunt Maggie going to heaven?
Of course she is, Andy. Now go to bed. I'll be right along.
She gently pushes him out the door, watching him down the hall. Wiping at her eyes, she turns back to Mike angrily.
Look, Mr. whatever your name is.
Lieutenant Norris, but you can call me Mike.
Look, Lieutenant Norris. My son had nothing to do with Maggie's death. He loved her. Whatever happened to Maggie was an accident. A terrible accident.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll thank you not to accuse my son to his face. Do you realize the effect that could have on a small boy?
I didn't accuse him of anything. I told you that those footprints couldn't have been his. Unless he has a pair of red sneakers we didn't find. He doesn't, does he, Mrs. Barclay?
I'll thank you to leave, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am.
He leaves. Andy pads into his room, closing the door behind him and setting Chucky down on a high wing-back chair. He crawls into bed and turns off the table lamp and talks to the doll as he slides under the covers.
You think Aunt Maggie put those red marks there? I mean, I guess so. She's the only one who could have.
He starts to yawn again, only to suddenly freeze, staring at Chucky in the chair across from him. The doll is awash in a spill of moonlight from the window, the soles of his little red sneakers staring Andy right in the face. A crisscross pattern. He throws the covers back and gets out of bed, slowly walking over to Chucky and staring at him first, then at the bottom of his sneakers. They are badly scuffed. He whirls towards the door.
Mommy!
He smacks into his tricycle, falling on the floor with a crash. At the same moment, a voice comes out of the darkness.
No!
Andy whirls, looking up from the floor at the back of the wingback chair where he left Chucky, his eyes as big as saucers. He slowly rises, staring at the back of the chair.
Chucky,
Drink?
Was that you? Did you say something?
No answer, just silence. He slowly walks around a foot of the chair. Then he breaks into a loving smile filled with wonder.
Chucky!
Drink. Mike steps out into the hallway. Jack Santos waiting near the elevator, watching him and Karen. Mike turns back to him.
I'm sorry if I've been any trouble, Mrs. Barclay. I didn't mean to upset you.
Oh, of course not. My best friend's dead. My child's upset. It's almost midnight.
I'm just trying to find out what happened here tonight. That's all.
I told you what happened. An accident. Now, I don't mean to be rude, but good night.
If you find out what made those scuff marks, will you let me know, please?
Of course I will. Now, good night.
She closes the door on him and he stares at it for a moment, grinning, then turns.
Spirited lady.
Mother lioness protecting her cub. You want that autopsy report on the desk first thing tomorrow?
You better know it. That and anything you could find out about Mrs. Barclay and her son.
They leave. Karen walks into the bathroom, snapping on the light and dousing her face with cold water. She suddenly raises her head, listening hard. She hears the soft murmur of voices coming from somewhere. She turns off the taps, and the voices are clearer now. They seem to be coming from the hallway. She steps out in the hall, staring down the corridor to Andy's bedroom. The voices are coming from behind his door. She's sure of it. Someone is in Andy's bedroom with him. She pads to the door, placing her ear against it, catching the muffled buzz of conversation, one voice clearly that of her son, the other indistinct and unrecognizable, but definitely not Andy's. Suddenly there's a high-pitched, distinctive laugh that she's heard before.
Heidi-ho!
She steps into the room, snapping on the light, and Andy looks up at her from the floor, blinking in the sudden glare. He's facing his high-back chair, the chair turned away from Karen.
Who are you talking to, Andy?
Chucky!
Drink.
Chucky?
Drink.
Oh, God.
Sure, Chucky.
Oh,
Drink.
Jesus Christ.
He points to the chair. There he is.
So, Chucky's.
God.
What's he saying?
All kinds of things. His real name is Charles Lee Ray, and he's been sent out from heaven by Daddy to play with me.
He has he? Anything else?
Yes, he said Aunt Maggie was a real bitch. Bitch! Got what she deserved.
Andy, how can you say something so horrible?
I didn't say it. Chucky did.
Oh my God.
Chucky. Jesus Christ.
Andy,
You're not even here
stop
anymore.
Stop it.
Died.
You know perfectly well you're making this up.
He scoops him up in her arms, carrying him to his bed and putting him under the covers, fussing
Don't
with him
say
as he
that.
talks.
But I'm not. Chucky's alive. Really, he is.
Christ.
Chucky? Oh, Chucky's a doll. A thing of cloth and thread. Look at him. Does he look like anything more?
He rises, picks the doll up off the chair, and shakes it in his face. Andy snatches the doll away from her.
Don't. You'll hurt him.
He's concerned about Chucky.
Look at him, Andy. You don't really think he's alive, do you? Look, Andy, you were talking to yourself in Chucky's voice. You know it. Now admit it.
But I wasn't.
Andy, please. Please. You're upset about Aunt Maggie. So am I. But it's no reason to start thinking Chucky.
He is.
Andy, stop it. Please stop.
She starts to cry, trying to cover it by turning away and reaching for her Kleenex. Andy sees the wetness around her eyes.
It's because of Aunt Maggie, isn't it? That's why you're yelling at me.
I guess so.
I'm sorry. I'll stop making up stories.
Thanks. Good night, champ. You're wonderful.
That turned so quickly. She rises, turns out the light, and softly shutting the door behind her. Andy rolls over, staring at Chucky.
Oh.
You're right, Chucky. She didn't believe me.
The doll's eyes snap open, his head turning to look toward the closed bedroom door. He spends a moment studying it, then turns back to Andy, speaking in his high-pitched sing-song.
Love to be hugged.
Good. I love to hug you too.
And so they do. Karen smiles, turning away from the door where she's been listening and paddling down the hallway into her room. Andy is already asleep, Chucky laying beside him, his eyes open, staring at nothing. They suddenly slam shut. Next day, Karen pulls up at the school in her car, dropping her child off. She turns to Andy, straightening his collar as she talks to him. He holds Chucky in his arms.
You sure you're all right now? No bad dreams last night about Aunt Maggie? Good. And Chucky's only a doll, right?
Oh.
Off to school with you then. Have
He
fun.
leaps out. The car disappears around the corner. A moment passes and Andy steps out of the school. Once he's sure she's really gone, he turns in the opposite direction, Chucky in his arms, and hurries down the street. Then we see Andy on the subway. Then we see Andy on 120th Street. Then we see Andy by a dump. He moves through a chain link fence into a huge dump almost directly beneath the George Washington Bridge. He walks past enormous mounds of garbage, broken furniture, and tossed appliances, Chucky in his arms. He finally stops, looking at a windowless, abandoned two-story ruin of a house directly ahead.
Is that it? Look, you stay here. I have to go tinkle.
He sets the doll down to go tinkle on the remains of a busted chair and trundles into the weeds. He stops there. Okay, I'm not going to describe a child peeing.
Chucky,
Right.
where are you?
No one there. Chucky is gone. In the abandoned house, the back door is slowly pushed open and someone enters. The room is a rat-infested mess, the rodents gnawing at garbage and half-eaten food left strewn out on the floor. A small hand reaches in and slowly begins to unscrew the connection to the gas hookup. Eddie Caputo lays on a mattress in the half light of the bedroom, what's left of the water-stained shades pulling tight over the paneless windows. He's unshaven, still wearing his prison clothes, pulling at a liquor bottle as he stares at nothing. A lot of people just staring at nothing in this movie.
Or all Michael
He
Myers.
hears something creak in the house on the floor below and sits bolt upright, every nerve in his body suddenly taut. He reaches for the 45 at his side. The little hand pulls the gas line free, the colorless gas escaping into the small room with a loud hiss. Eddie appears at the top of the rickety stairs, staring down into the portico below. There's nothing there. He starts slowly down the stairs, the gun held ready. Suddenly a voice hisses at him out of the shadows.
Hello, Eddie.
Eddie freezes, looking over the railing at the shadows of the hallway below.
Chucky?
Yep.
Is that you? Who else would it be? After all, this is our hideout, isn't it?
Sure. I thought you were dead.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. Not and leave you alive anyway.
Eddie stares down the stairs, the gun ready.
What are you talking about, Chuck?
You left me, Eddie. You chickened out and left me. You think I'm gonna let you live after that?
Eddie reaches the bottom of the stairs, whirling and firing into the shadows of the hallway, blasting away with his gun. Andy whirls, staring at the abandoned house where the gunshots are coming from. That's where Chucky must be. He starts running for the house. Eddie moves down the hallway, searching the shadows, his gun ready. Suddenly, the voice comes from behind him.
Not in there, Eddie. In here.
Eddie whirls, staring down the hallway into the living room, clutching the gun. He steps into the refuse-strewn room, the gun ready. Looking around, suddenly Andy is heard inside, yelling for his doll.
Chucky!
Forget the boy, Eddie. It's me you want.
Eddie whirls.
That's right, Eddie. In here. I'm waiting for you.
The gas keeps hissing. Andy wanders along the side of the house.
Chucky!
Drink! Eddie comes to a halt before the door to the kitchen. The broken main continues to fill with gas. At the last second, Andy trundles over a rise in the back of the house. Eddie whips open the door, stepping into the kitchen. He fires his gun blindly into the darkness.
Gotcha!
The room explodes in a blinding flash of white light. The kitchen blows apart, the walls dissolving in an explosion of flying wood and shattered glass and Eddie. The side of the house going up in a ball of fire, the entire immediate area covered in a rain of flying wood, glass, Eddie, lathing, and a plaster. A few seconds pass and Andy raises his head above the dip in the ground, staring at the house in amazement. What's left of it is turning into a fireball, flames greedily consuming the wood structure. He looks around, tears springing into his eyes.
Chucky!
Of course.
Right.
At the police station, Karen comes walking down the corridor, her high heel shoes sounding hollow and lonely in the deserted corridor. She sees an officer approaching and stops him.
Pardon me, I'm looking for Lieutenant Norris. Lieutenant Norris!
Thank you for coming, Mrs. Barclay.
What's wrong? I came as soon as I got your message.
Have you been home yet?
No, I came directly from work. Why?
We have your son here.
Andy, here. What?
Let's step into my office.
They do.
I don't know how to tell you this, Mrs. Barclay.
Tell me what. What's wrong?
I've had to arrest Andy.
You've had to what?
Can I get you some water or whiskey?
I mean, what did you arrest him for?
Murder.
Who did he kill?
Your friend Maggie Peterson, for one.
Oh, no, that's crazy. Andy loved her. She was like an aunt to him.
The coroner's report said she was hit on the forehead before she went out that window.
That doesn't prove anything. Maybe she stumbled and hit her head before she fell.
Mrs. Barclay, remember those red marks on your kitchen counter? If your son had stood on that counter where those marks were, he would have been at the exact height to have hit Mrs. Peterson in the forehead.
But that's impossible. Andy would never do a thing like that.
And then Eddie Caputo died this afternoon.
Who?
Haven't you heard about him on the news? He was partners with the Bayside Strangler. They'd pick up women and torture them together before they killed them.
All right. A psychopath died this afternoon. What's it got to do with Andy?
Caputo escaped from jail. Someone blew up his hideout today with him inside of it. Your son was sitting outside clutching his doll when we arrived.
Oh my God. Where's Andy? I've got to see him.
He's fine. He's in the next room being questioned.
Let me see him.
Are you sure you're in shape? Are you sure you're in the shape for this right now, Mrs. Barclay? Maybe you'd like a few minutes to calm down.
I am perfectly calm, Lieutenant Norris. And I very much want to see my son.
Of course, Mrs. Barclay.
They cross from his office into another room, and Karen finds herself in a small room with a two-way glass mirror. Mike closes the door behind them, watching them carefully. There are several people in the room, none of whom she knows. She walks to the glass, staring into the interrogation room. Andy sits there talking with Jack Santos, Chucky perched on the table between them.
So, what happened then, Andy?
I went looking for Chucky. Every one of my lines now, by the way. And the whole house just blew up.
Any idea why? What were you doing there anyway, Andy?
Chucky wanted me to see Eddie. Drink.
Eddie Caputo? Why did Chucky
Drink.
want you to see him?
He said he'd take me to heaven to visit my father.
Oh my God.
What?
Andy lost his father recently, that's all.
I know. I got a report on it. The car went off the road and Andy was thrown clear. I'd think something like that could give anybody emotional problems, especially a small child.
Did your report also tell you that the car caught fire? Did it tell you that Andy ran back into the burning car and tried to pull his father out? Did it tell you that the police had to pull him out, kicking and screaming? Did it tell you that?
No.
Well, he did. He did. Bob was dead. But Andy didn't realize that. When I finally made him understand, he felt terrible because he hadn't had a chance to say goodbye to him. That's why I reacted the way I did just now.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Barclay.
So am I. His father was a wonderful man.
What about Aunt Maggie, Andy? Do you have any idea why she fell out that window?
Yes.
Why?
She saw Chucky, and it scared her so much she fell out.
Oh no.
What's wrong?
Ever since I got him that damn doll, he's been insisting it was alive.
Yeah, I know. That's all he keeps talking about.
Let me talk to him. Maybe I can find out what's going on. Please.
He looks at a stocky older man in the corner, Dr. Ardmore, who's been listening to the questions.
Doc, what do you have to say?
I think it would be a very good idea. Boys don't like to tell fibs to their mothers.
Dr. Ardmore, the state-appointed child psychiatrist.
Thank you.
Good luck.
They go one door down and disappear through it. Andy leaps out of his seat, running into his mother's arms as Mike and Karen come through the door.
Mommy!
Andy!
They hug each other.
Andy, now listen to me. You've got to stop telling these wild stories. Too much depends on it.
I haven't been telling stories.
Andy, Chucky is not alive. Remember, we agreed on that last night.
I was lying.
You were?
I didn't want you mad at me anymore.
You mean Chucky was really talking to you last night? About what?
Aunt Maggie?
What about her?
He told me how she saw him when he was trying to get out the front door.
Why was he trying to get out, Andy?
To go see his friend Eddie.
Why did he want to see him?
I don't know, but he wanted me to take him there today, and I told him I couldn't because I'd missed school. That's when he told me Eddie would take me up to visit Daddy. You don't mind that I left school for that, do you, Mommy?
No, of course not, darling.
Look, Andy, Chucky was lying to you.
He was?
Yes, nobody can take you to heaven. You have to get there all on your own. And Aunt Maggie didn't fall out that window.
Didn't?
No, she didn't. Somebody hit her over the head first. Somebody wanted to hurt her, Andy. Do you have any idea who that could be?
who would want to hurt Aunt Maggie? And why are you saying she was hit over the head to a 6-year-old?
I've been drinking a lot, Andy. I don't know. What do you think?
Mike nods. Andy slowly turns and looks at Chucky sitting innocuously on the table.
Chucky? It had to be Chucky. That's two.
Why would Chucky want to kill Aunt Maggie?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know, but he's lied to me, to the doll.
Right.
Why'd you lie to me, Chucky?
Right.
Why?
Jack looks over at Dr. Ardmore.
What do you think, Doc?
The boy is obviously projecting what he saw someone do onto the doll, or what he did himself.
He turns to Mike.
He won't talk to me with you here.
Has he said anything else about this doll I should know?
No, nothing. Wait. Yes. He said Chucky's real name was Charles Lee Ray.
What?
Jack Santos is about to light a cigarette. He almost drops it when he hears this.
Holy shit.
What's wrong? Does it mean something?
Only if you believe in reincarnation.
What are you talking about?
Charles Lee Ray was the Bayside Strangler.
The man who was Eddie Caputo's partner.
You got it.
Would this Charles Lee Ray have wanted Caputo dead?
You better believe it. When he was wounded and running from the police, Caputo ditched him.
My God. Then if Chucky were Charles Lee Ray, it would make perfect sense why he'd want Andy to take him to that place today.
Perfect sense. Only one problem.
What?
That's a doll, not Charles Lee Ray.
Is it?
Look at it, Mrs. Barclay. Does it look alive to you? Let's take a break, okay?
Andy, you say Chucky talks to you. Can you make him talk to you right now?
He won't do it.
Why not?
He's already mad at me. He told me if I ever told another grown-up about him, he'd kill me. And now I've told all of you.
You're dead.
Andy, this is terribly important. Lieutenant Norris and I are here to protect you. Okay, you have to make Chucky talk.
Right.
You
But
have
it
to.
work.
Andy, please, just try.
All right, if you really want me to.
I really want you to.
Chucky, why'd you lie to me about Aunt Maggie?
Nothing.
Come on, Chucky, tell me why.
Still nothing.
My name's Chucky. Let's play. Heidi ho.
Is anybody else really full? Anyway, side note. I shouldn't have ate that soup. I told you at the beginning. All right. See, he can talk.
Mike turns away, the spell broken. Karen looks at her son with despairing eyes, and Andy bursts into tears.
Womp womp.
I'm sorry, Mommy. I tried. I really did.
You didn't try hard enough. I know you did, darling. I know.
Karen's apartment. The key is her turning the lock. The door opens and Karen enters exhausted. She
Billy
realizes.
Ray, do you think this might be a good time here in roughly the middle of the script at a scene break to mention our charity for this evening?
Clay, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Okay. We here at Scripts So Wild this evening are raising money for the Art House America campaign. This is the campaign started by the Criterion Collection to raise money for art houses to help get them through this COVID-19 time. As Billy Ray said up top, they did close their GoFundMe. However, Billy Ray found secret backdoor connections to still be able to get them cash.
It was called an email.
Billy Ray sent an email, and we can still donate money to support art houses around America. And Billy Ray, as you said, we have an angel donator
That is correct.
Donator this evening who is matching donations for everything tonight and for 2 or 3 days hereafter. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to paypal.me/scriptsgonewild. Donate to the Art House America campaign, and your donation will be matched for up to 3 days from now.
This is correct. You can also use Venmo. It's at Scripts Gone Wild. And also, whoever donates the most, they're going to get a free copy of the collector's edition of Child's Play and a Scripts Gone Wild t-shirt. So, it's totally worth it. Well, you want to donate $10,000? That's a good trade. A t-shirt and a
good Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a good Blu-ray. Well, there we go.
It's not this movie, though, right?
What? Not the new
not
movie.
this script.
No. Yeah, it's gonna be this script.
Yeah.
First drafts.
Release the Andy's dead dad cut.
Yes, exactly. I was like, it's this script minus
Release
the
dead dad cut. Release the dead dad.
Yeah, this is like Pixar's Child's Play.
Okay, guys, we're going back in.
Oh shit.
Karen's back home. She drops Chucky on the table and sits on the couch, staring at the doll. The second tick passed. Finally,
Say something, you little bastard.
nothing from the doll.
Say something, damn it.
Suddenly, the doll comes to life.
I love to be hugged.
Christ, what am I doing?
She goes to the kitchen. She stops at the sink, getting herself a glass of water. As she drinks, she glances to the left. There, stuck in a corner of the counter, is the gaily colored box that Chucky came in. She picks it up, reading the label aloud in disgust.
A play pal doll, a kid's best friend. Yeah, sure.
She goes to drop the box in the trash, inadvertently turning it upside down. Something metallic falls out, hitting the kitchen counter with a heavy thunk. She looks down. She is staring at 4 AA plastic encased batteries. Back at the box in her hand. Batteries included is clearly written on the side. She whirls, staring through the door into the living room where Chucky is. She comes into the room, stopping above the table where Chucky sits, staring down at the doll. He sits there totally inert. She picks him up, slowly turning him over on his back. She shoves up his rainbow-colored shirt, revealing a little plastic door labeled "Batteries Go Here." She pushes down, releasing the catch, and the little plastic door snaps open with a hollow thunk to reveal an empty battery case. The doll has been talking and moving without any goddamn batteries at all. Chucky's head suddenly swivels a complete 180 degrees in her hand, so he is staring up at her from between his shoulder blades, and his eyes snap open and his mouth moves.
Chucky, wanna play?
Finish your drinks. Oh. With a scream, she drops the doll. Chucky hits the floor and rolls under the couch. She stands there, one hand pressed to her heart, the other to her mouth. She gathers her frayed nerves and leans down, sticking her hand into the blackness beneath the couch. She feels around blindly.
Come on, you've got to be under there.
She suddenly stops. She's got a hold of something. She withdraws the doll from under the couch, staring down at it.
Talk. Come on, talk to me. I said talk to me, damn it.
Still nothing.
You're doing the same thing to me you did to Andy, aren't you? Well, it's not going to work. Come on, if you're alive, say something.
He shakes the doll.
You won't talk to me, will you? Well, I'll make you.
She leaps to the fireplace, getting ready to toss him in.
Last chance, damn it. Talk to me.
She starts to heave him into the roaring fire, and suddenly there's a snarl, and Chucky leaps to life in her hand, fighting to be free, twisting around like a handful of snakes. She grabs the doll with the other hand, holding it tight, crying almost in joy.
Got you. I got you.
Chucky suddenly whips his head around, opens his mouth, barring a set of teeth like king-sized chiclets, and sinks them as deep as he can into the tender flesh on the inside of her forearm. Karen screams. The doll hits the floor. There's dancing and screaming in pain.
You stupid bitch!
Drake!
You dumb fucking bitch!
Drake!
Oh, Jesus.
You think you can fuck with me, do ya? Well, no one can. No one!
He suddenly launches himself across the floor, leaping into the air and wrapping himself around her legs, sinking his teeth into her calf. With a scream, Karen topples onto the floor.
See, I'm the giver of pain. Don't fuck with me or you die. You can't stop me. No one can.
He suddenly whips the poker off the fireplace and swipes it at the doll, catching him square in the chest, and Chucky goes flying.
Didn't you know, bitch?
Sorry.
Huh? I'm indestructible. Do you hear me? Indestructible. Nothing can kill me. Nothing. Which is more than I can say for your bratty little kid. He's going to fry for what I did. Do you hear me? Fry!
No.
Yes! Yes, I say!
No. No.
Yes, you can't stop me.
They struggle for a moment, and then she steps out into the hallway to find the front door open. The chair to the telephone table in front of the door. Chucky obviously used it to stand on it while opening the lock. She hurries towards it. She bursts out the front door and skids to a halt, peering over the balustrade, staring down the stairwell. She doesn't see anything, but she hears little feet pitter-pattering down the stairs.
Heidi-ho!
Come back. Do you hear me? Come back.
All she gets for an answer is the front door far below slamming shut.
He escaped. My son's doll escaped.
Those neighbors just stare at her like she crazy as shit. At the precinct, Mike walks out in front of it, headed down the sidewalk. Karen suddenly pulls up in her not-so-new Honda, double parking and hopping out to chase after him.
Lieutenant Norris.
Hi, Mrs. Barclay. What are you doing back here?
Andy was telling the truth. Chucky is still alive.
What?
I took him back to my apartment and was about to throw away the box he came in away when the batteries fell out. Don't you see? He's been moving and talking for days now without batteries in him.
What are you talking about?
How I found out he was alive. I threatened to throw him in the fireplace. He suddenly came alive in my hand. I dropped him and he got up and he ran out of the apartment.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
I'm telling the truth.
Mrs. Barclay, I'm too tired and it's too goddamn late for this nonsense.
All right, don't believe me. But I'm going to tell you this. That doll is going to kill again. I don't know who and I don't know when, but he will. He has to. Andy was right. He is Charles Lee Ray.
Where are you going now?
To find Chucky.
Right.
How are you going to do that?
I brought him. I brought him from a peddler where I work. Start there. It says that I brought him. I brought him.
That isn't a good part of town to be in at this time of night.
She ignores him and gets into her car.
Mrs. Barclay, did you hear me? You don't want to go down there at this time of night.
He squeals away.
God damn it.
Karen starts in Battery Park, but all she finds are men entwined under bushes. Okay. And a healthy dope business going on. Gays and drug dealers. That's all you're going to find at parks, people. He used to walk the streets in the immediate area, poking into doorways and looking down alleys. Courage, her feet killing her. Karen walks down the street, knowing she should give up, but refusing to do so. Suddenly, out of the darkness, a bonfire roars to life in a trash-filled lot across the street. It's like a no man's land, trash strewn everywhere, people bedded out on urine-stained mattresses and underneath cardboard boxes. A bunch of them drink Ripple Red and dance a mad drunken reel around the growing bonfire. Their sexes indistinguishable, their ages irrelevant. Pockmarked faces, diseased skin, spindly rag-draped bodies. They are the hopeless of society.
That reads like my resume.
So their minds on one substance or another, chemical or alcohol, all doing their dervish dance around the crackling fire as Karen walks through this hell looking for the peddler.
Love it.
Spots him.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
You, over there, you.
The dancers slow their dervish, throwing glances at the well-dressed intruder, the peddler casting a fearful glance back.
Stop. Please, stop.
He reels to a halt against the wall of the building, siding the empty lot, staring at her like a trapped animal, his bleary eyes trying to focus.
Don't you remember me? No, I brought a doll from you in back of Stockman's department store 2 days ago.
Go!
Yes, a Play Pal doll. You sold it to me.
Oh, yeah. No, what about it?
Where did you get it?
What do you give me if I tell you? All I remember is he doesn't have any teeth. I forgot what the voice is.
I don't have one.
She digs at her purse and suddenly he grabs it from her.
Oh, don't do that.
He shoves her away, standing there looking at her, his friends forming an increasingly tighter circle of hobos around her.
This isn't enough. What else you got?
Karen glances around, realizing for the first time she's surrounded, trapped, fear rising.
It's all I've got.
No, it isn't.
Oh, God. He grabs her, trying to kiss her with his horrible, toothless mouth. Suddenly, Mike Norris steps forward.
That takes care of him. Now, what about you? You want to spend the night in the tombs?
He's a cop. Whisper the trash.
Wow.
Disappearing into the night as quickly as they came, leaving the empty lot bare except for the burning bonfire.
Okay, you want to answer the lady's question now? Where did you get the doll from?
I don't know nothing about no doll.
You're not going to know anything about anything in another minute unless you talk. Now talk!
An alley on 34th and 1st. It was in the trash. That's where I got it.
What? Where did you say?
34th and 1st. I'm telling you the truth. I swear I am.
He lets him go and he disappears into the wind.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
No, something the peddler said upset you.
I told you, nothing.
God damn it, my son's life is at stake. Now, what was it?
The place where he said he got the dolls. Charles Lee Ray died there.
What's it mean?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. Come on.
They drive away, and in the car.
What happened?
It got hit by lightning. Just as Ray was dying, they must have dumped the damaged toys in the alley behind the store. That's how the peddler got your doll.
They're at the toy store now.
What do we do now?
Take a look inside.
Inside.
I shot him there.
You were the man who killed Charles Lee Ray? Why didn't you tell me?
It isn't exactly the kind of thing you go around telling people. Come on.
Where are we going?
To where he died. There. That's where it happened. Not the other place. Here.
Look. Play pals everywhere. Look at them. That proves it.
Proves what?
That Andy was telling the truth. Charles Lee Ray somehow got himself inside that doll as he was dying.
Come on, be serious.
I am serious. Look around you. Can there be any other explanation?
Yes, Mrs. Barclay. Coincidence.
And how do you explain what Andy said?
He's a little boy. Little boys have overactive imaginations. Now, come on.
You don't really believe that, do you? You don't really believe it's all coincidence.
What I believe or don't believe doesn't make a difference. I can't go to my superiors with this. They'll just laugh.
What happened when Ray died?
What?
Did anything strange happen when Charles Lee Ray died?
I don't know. I'd lost him. I was in another aisle when it happened.
All right. Did you hear anything? Well, did you?
Yes, he threatened to kill me and Eddie Caputo.
Is that all? Did he say anything else?
He started chanting something.
What?
I don't know. It was in a strange tongue I couldn't understand. Now, come on, again.
Don't you see? That's the answer.
What answer?
How he got himself inside that doll. That chant had to have something to do with it.
Come on.
No, I'm serious.
You're also crazy.
All right, I'm crazy. Just tell me where Charles Lee Ray lived.
They head for the car.
Just tell me where he lived.
Why?
I want to search his apartment. There might be a clue that will lead me to Chucky.
Thank God.
I've already done that.
Please, just tell me.
1218 3rd Street, the Bronx.
Thanks, Mike. I know you don't believe any of it, but you've been a big help.
He steps in the street, hailing a passing cab, and he shouts after her.
That's not going to do you any good. There's nothing there.
You better hope I find something.
Why?
Charles Lee Ray threatened to kill 2 people as he died. Eddie Caputo's dead. That leaves you.
Thanks a lot.
Mike drives, his face taut with concentration. He turns on the radio, listening to some relaxing music for a moment. It doesn't relax him.
God damn it.
He swings the wheel. The car does a 180, reversing direction. The car pulls to a halt before the police station, and Mike hops out and heads inside, and he nods to a couple of cops. A few moments later, suddenly the passenger side door to his car opens, and the light goes on inside. Something small, unseen but heard, crawls inside. He comes through the door, goes to his filing cabinets, and pulls out the one marked Charles Lee Ray. He goes back out the door. He comes out the front door and climbs into his car. He starts in it, pulls it up to the curb. He drives, the file beside him on the seat. He turns on the radio, more soothing music. It seems to make him feel better now. A second passes, then another, and another. Nothing happens. He pulls out a cigarette, pushing it in the lighter on the dash. Suddenly, Chucky rears up on the seat behind him and whips Andy's slinky around his neck, laughing gleefully as he pulls the steel wires tight.
Good night, asshole!
He braces himself with both small legs against the back of the seat, pulling on the wire with all his strength, which really honestly can't be much. Mike gags, his cigarette dropping as he grabs at the wire, gasping for air that isn't there. The car veers across the street to the sidewalk, taking a row of garbage cans out. He fumbly wumbly. He fumbles wildly over his shoulder for the doll with one hand, the other on the wheel, his face purpling. Chucky just laughs maniacally.
Isn't this fun, Mikey?
He yanks even harder on the wire. Mike's starting to black out, the road ahead beginning to blur, his free hand beating spasmodically on the dash. The lighter suddenly pops out and he grabs it, jamming it with all his failing strength into the side of Chucky's face. The skin sizzles and smoke starting to melt, and the doll screams in agony. Mike grabs hold of the wheel, control of the car as he gasps for air. He starts to hit the brake, only to suddenly scream, arching forward, grabbing at his back. A knife has been thrust through the back of the seat and an inch into the small of his back. He glances over his shoulder at the back of the seat. It suddenly erupts with more knife thrusts, the sharp gleaming blade tearing through the upholstery again and again, seeking his life. He shifts his body, trying to avoid the blade. The car and the road suddenly forgotten. The car cuts across the street, sideswiping a parked car, ripping its paneling off its barrels. Mike fights the wheel, hitting the brake again. The car begins to slow. Suddenly, a blade is thrust up through the bottom of the seat, directly between his legs, almost cutting his balls off. He lifts his body off the seat. The car leaps onto the sidewalk, taking out street lamps. Mike keeps his body raised, the seat beneath him becoming a shredded mess as his blade is shoved up from underneath the floorboards again and again, missing him narrowly as he reaches underneath the seat.
Chucky.
Let's go for a ride, Mikey! Whee!
The car shoots forward, tearing down the street, slamming into another car, flipping on its side. Mike shakes his head, slowly cracking open his eyes with a groan, and he finds himself laying on the inside of the car roof, staring into Chucky's grinning face. The doll's hairline has changed. It's receding, just like Charles Lee Ray was. His fingernails long and scraggly, just like the killer's, but his eyes are the worst of all. They're no longer doll's eyes. They're the orbs of Charles Lee Ray. Icy blue, terribly human, and terribly mad. The doll grins at him.
Hey, Mikey!
He leaps forward, stabbing at Mike's face with a kitchen knife. Mike jerks his head aside just in time, the knife burying itself deeply in the side of the door. He grabs for the doll, missing him.
Hidey-ho! Bet you can't catch me!
Mike digs for his gun. Chucky suddenly appears behind him, staring at him through the window.
Won't do you any good! You can't hurt me!
Mike whirls and fires, and he misses. He lays there, looking around at all the smashed windows. Suddenly, there's a ripping noise behind him, and he jerks his head, with Chucky pulling the knife free from the inside of the door. He fires again, missing the doll as he skips away behind the outside of the car.
What's wrong, Mikey? Hands shaking? What? Hands shaking!
Mike! Mike lays there in the silence of the wrecked car, trying to watch all the broken windows at the same time, knowing the doll is lurking. Suddenly, he hears,
"So long, Mikey!"
He whirls to see the doll staring at him through the smashed front window, the gleaming blade in his hand. The doll starts to walk toward him, and Mike fires, the bullet catching Chucky in the shoulder, blowing a hole through his plastic skin and sending a puff of cloth stuffed into the air. It knocks the doll off his feet, sending him flying back. He hits the ground on his back and lays there, not moving, and Mike just stares. Just as Mike dares to hope, Chucky sits up, grinning at him.
Hi, Mikey.
He raises to his feet, finger in his hole.
Drink.
Told you, sticks and stones can't hurt me, and neither can bullets.
Suddenly, blood wells up in the hole.
Wah!
It starts to drip.
No! No! It can't be!
Mike lifts his gun, aiming at the doll, about to take another shot. Chucky hears him cocking his weapon, jerks his head up to see the gun barrel drawn. He ducks out the smashed front window just as Mike fires. He misses, blowing away the upside-down rearview mirror. He hears the doll skittering away.
Later, Mikey! Later!
I think Mike's going to remember this night for a long time.
Say so.
The elevator at Bellevue Hospital doors clang open, and Andy steps out, a small suitcase in his hand. Dr. Ardmore is by his side. They're in a hospital.
Here's where you'll be staying, Andy. I hope you like it.
It's a room.
Nice, isn't it? Of course. I'm sure your mother will bring you some of your stuff from home. What's wrong? Yes, that's right. It's Chucky.
Drink.
Oy vey.
But see, he's only a doll.
He throws him against the wall, and the doll hits it and bounds to the floor, not moving.
Here, do you think Chucky?
Oh, buckle up, everyone.
Would have let me do that if he were alive?
That's not Chucky.
Of course it is. Look at him.
Oh, God.
Can I just say, are these words always this crazy? I mean,
pretty
crazy.
This is the craziest since we did Poltergeist, and the word was Carol Ann.
Yeah.
Okay.
Billy Ray, you also allowed Batman to be one of the words in the Batman screening. So this is...
All right, so I'll go back to it now with, it's not Chucky. He just looks like Chucky. So that's two.
All right. It isn't Chucky.
God.
Just pound this whole
Chucky is a doll, just like this one. And he's dead, just like this one.
Oh, Jesus.
No, he isn't. Chucky's alive, and he's going to come here to get me.
Don't be silly, Andy. Chucky isn't coming for you. He can't. He's a doll. And even if he weren't, he could never get inside this building.
He'll find a way. I know him. He'll find a way and come here and try to kill me.
Who will find a way, Andy?
You don't have to worry about it, Andy. I'm here. I'll protect you. You try to get some sleep now.
You won't be able to stop him. No one will. He's going to come here and kill me.
Yes.
Charles Lee Ray's apartment.
I am gonna kill you.
Karen's at Charles Lee Ray's apartment with a super, a fat slob of a man. She steps into the room and steps with a shock, staring at the walls. The room is a giant mural, the work of a madman. All four walls covered with the impressionistic, terribly disturbed and disturbing paintings. The first wall shows a man, a self-portrait by the artist, Charles Lee Ray, beseeching a black man dressed in a Haitian costume. The black man has a very distinctive face, kind eyes surrounded with black skin because he's a black man. Karen doesn't know what Ray is asking of the man. There's a lot of mural stuff here. She's looking at a lot of murals. She's looking at a lot of artwork. And then all of a sudden she hears a voice.
Voodoo.
Billy Ray, you skipped a lot. Mike.
Voodoo.
Did you check it out?
Why bother? He was dead. I thought that was the end of Charles Lee Ray.
And now?
Chucky
Oh.
attacked me last night. He almost killed me. I stopped by the station house to pull Charles Lee Ray's file. Know what I found out?
What?
His name was Chucky.
Hey,
Frank.
But it won't do Andy any good.
What a coincidence.
Why not?
We have no proof, no hard evidence that anybody is going to believe.
I know one person who's going to believe.
Who?
Chucky?
Dr. Death.
That's the man in the mural. She holds up the picture of the black man. It's as tough. It's as though, God damn it, he's at Mike. Dr. Death, also known as John Elsop Bishop, leans over a small baby held in his mother's arms. He wears the ceremonial headdress of a witch doctor. The child's father watches anxiously. He and mother are Haitian peasants. The infant bawls incessantly. So basically, yeah, he's just talking to a mama, and he's practicing voodoo.
Oh, read the part about the amulet, though.
Okay, is that amulet part? Oh no, here we go.
You have to.
Dr. Death rubs the infant with an amulet, mumbling in that foreign tongue similar to that used by Charles Lee Ray when he was dying. He is exactly as he was in the mural, of indeterminate age, tall, and, as they want us to know, very black, with kindly brown eyes. The room is festooned with dolls of all shapes and sizes, from the most primitive to store-bought. They're nailed to walls. Dr. Death suddenly stops his chant. The baby stops crying an instant later. The room is suddenly deafeningly quiet, and Dr. Death turns to the mother and hands her the amulet.
Billy Ray, I don't think you assigned Dr. Death or Mother.
Oh, God, I was probably... Oh, did I not?
No, I'm just looking at the email. Here, keep this with him at night, and he won't cough anymore.
Oh,
thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Clay, great job. She abjectly blows her... bows her way out of the room. The husband, $2 bills in the husband's hand, afraid to touch him, anxious to be gone. Dr. Death watches the two of them out of the door. He steps into the kitchen, taking off his ceremonial headdress and laying it on the sink. Somehow it transforms him from Dr. Death to John Eitzel Bishop, a much more approachable man. He picks up a cup, going about the mundane business of fixing himself some tea. Then...
Hello, John.
He whirls around.
Over here, John.
There he is.
Hi.
John drops the tea, the delicate china smashing.
What do you think? The gree work? Of course, I wasn't close to another human being when I was dying, so I had to find the next best body available. Freaky, huh? You know, when I came here learning all that stuff about how to beat death, I thought maybe you were pulling my chain. But not now. Not now. Only one problem.
What?
This!
He pulls up his shirt, revealing his wound.
I didn't think anything could hurt me. After all, I'm in a doll's body, right? But last night, I got shot. And you know something? It hurt. I got shot. Oh, shit, I already said that, didn't I? I got hurt like a son of a bitch.
But
it even bled. Now, why's that, John? You wouldn't think something like that would happen, would you?
You're turning human.
What?
The more time you spend in that body, the more human you'll become. Lungs, heart, blood vessels, even human skin.
You mean I'll be some kind of human midget? I'll be some kind of human midget one day? If people still say midget? You mean I'll have to live the rest of my life out in this body?
John nods.
No, I won't allow it. I'm not going to be some kind of a freak for the rest of my life. There has to be a way out. There has to be. Don't be scared. Do I keep going? You got me into this. Now tell me what I have to do to get out.
You have to transfer your soul out of the doll into a human being.
Oy vey. Ah, well, that's easy enough. There are enough people walking around out there. I'll just choose the first good-looking guy I meet. I've always wanted to be good-looking. Maybe the woman will like it better that way when I kill them. What do you think?
He looks at John. You don't understand. Not just any person. The first person you revealed your true self to.
You mean the first person I let in on the fact that I was really alive?
Yep.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
What?
The first person I let in on the little secret was a 6-year-old kid. I'm going to be 6 years old again. Of course, he does have a beautiful mother. Not that I'll be able to do much about it now.
Now?
But I'll grow up.
Mhm.
Won't I, Doc?
Oof.
And when I do, oh boy,
Ew.
party starts, let me tell you.
Why does he think that's an inn?
Thanks, Doc. You've been a big help. And remember to keep your mouth shut. We wouldn't want anything else in our little secret, would we?
I'm afraid I can't do that, Charles.
What are you talking about?
You're insane, Charles. Criminally insane. I didn't know that when I taught you the Gree. I didn't know you were the Bayside Strangler when I killed Zach and Screech and Slater. Right now on the 7 o'clock news.
Billy Ray, did you forget to assign like a 7-page character?
I guess I did. But if I had, none of this would have happened.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to call the police. I'm going to tell them about you and save that little boy. You're an abomination, Charles. You have to be stopped. He crosses to the phone, picking it up and beginning to dial, and Chucky appears in the doorway.
You know, I thought something like this must happen, or might happen. That's why I prepared for it.
Yes, this is an emergency. Give me the police. What are you talking about?
This!
With exaggerated casualness, he pulls out a small wooden effigy of John Acel Bishop from his back. He holds it up for the doctor to see.
Your own personal mojo, Doc. Made out of your hair, your clothes, even bathed in a little bit of your own blood, right?
Give me that.
Sure. How do you want it? With a knife through your leg? Ah!
He shoves the knife into the doll's leg, and it hurts.
Shouldn't tell your customers your professional secrets. Get you in trouble every time.
He cuts the doll's arm, and it hurts.
Well, John, it's been nice. I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old. Come to show business. You have a date with death.
He plunges the knife into the doll's chest, and Dr. John, is it? Oh, okay. Dr. John screams and plays his music.
Oh, is this Dr. Death the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
So long, Doc. Can't say it hasn't been fun.
Cool.
On the street, Mike pulls up his car. He and Karen get out and hurry towards Dr. Death's tenement apartment. They go inside. Too late!
Oh my God.
Too late. Must save the boy.
What boy?
Little boy. Some little boy.
It's my little boy. Did
Frank.
Chucky do this to you? Charles Lee Ray, did he do this to you? He's killed people, and my little boy is taking the blame for it. I have to find him and stop him.
Go to your little boy. He's headed there. Must get his soul inside him just like he got into the doll.
What? Ray's going to do the same thing to Andy that he did to the doll?
Yes, I'm still alive. Take him over. You must stop him before he says the chant. Kill him before he can say it.
How? Nothing stops him.
The heart. His heart is almost human. It's the only way through the heart.
The paramedics are on their way.
As I close John Bishop's eyes, they're going to be too late. Come on!
Where?
Bellevue. Chucky's going after Andy.
Andy's sitting on his bed, wondering
Here
if
we
Chucky's
go.
going to come after him. A scraping sound that doesn't belong there. Andy slowly turns and looks out the window, and it's getting louder. He pokes his head out, staring down the building, and rain begins to slash down around the storm clouds. Andy can hardly see in front of him. Lightning flashes, illuminating everything. Andy gasps, and Chucky is no more than 10 feet below him.
Hi, Andy. Hold on a sec. I'll be right there.
Andy leaps off the windowsill and races to the door.
Help me! He's coming to kill me! Help me!
Up and down the corridor, kids come to the viewing ports of their doors.
That's kids all together. Help me! Help me! He's coming to kill me! Help me!
He's coming to kill me.
Oh, they're all
Raucous
crazy
laughter
kids. So they're all
follows.
mimicking. Yeah.
Orderlies don't even bother to look up because they suck at their jobs.
Hold on, Andy. Just hold on.
Andy leaps off the windowsill, looking around desperately. Chucky climbs up into the ledge outside Andy's window. Andy throws a table in front of it.
Think a table will stop me, boy? No way. No fucking way.
And now Andy knows fucking. Chucky's hand shoots in between the crack, flailing around for Andy. Andy is back against the table, ducks inside, and Chucky unable to reach him. And Chucky pulls his hand back out, screaming.
Gonna be smart about it, are we? Well, not smart enough.
He turns away, walking down the ledge towards the window one room over. Andy hears Chucky moving away and leaps for the door.
Help me! Somebody's got to help me!
Dr. Ardmore hurries down the corridor, brought by all the noise. He stops by the door to Andy's room, peering through it. Andy sees the doctor's face. Someone's here to save him.
He's here, Doctor. Chucky's here.
Doctor stares through the port, don't see a goddamn thing.
I don't see anybody.
That was a Chucky.
Oh.
Well, it was a Chucky.
I missed my line.
I don't see anybody.
No. You're good.
No, we had a drink.
But he's here. Chucky's here, and he's going to kill me. There's another Chucky.
Chucky, drink.
Oh.
I'm going to get him a shot of Thorazine. Keep the others quiet if you can.
Bring it. Andy, snap out of it.
No, don't leave me. Please, don't leave me.
The orderlies lounge. They're doing shit. Mona, the crazy young girl Andy noticed when he came in, sits with her back against the wall, staring out at nothing, as they do. Chucky stops in front of her, snagging her attention.
Want to take me for a walk?
He stares at him for a moment, seeing nothing out of the ordinary in the talking doll.
Good.
He hops into her arms as she slowly rises, starting down the hall with the doll. She passes the line where the orderly sits.
Hey, Mona, where you going?
He wants to go for a walk.
That's nice.
Smiling at her obvious craziness, he turns back to his report. Mona disappears from the doorway. Mona stops before the door to Andy's room. Chucky leans out from his position, her arms, and unlocks the door, and he pushes it open, dropping the floor and disappearing into the room before anyone notices. Mona is left standing there, staring blankly, as they do. Chucky starts and turns away through the door, staring around the room. His shadow dances crazily against the back wall as the lightning crackles and thunder bolts around the window. The room is empty except for a huddled mess beneath the covers, and Chucky grins.
Want to play hide and seek, do we?
He throws aside the pass key, whips out his butcher knife, and leaps under the bed, grabbing hold of the blankets and brandishing the knife with the other.
Well, I found you!
He whips back the covers to discover an empty bed, just a mass of blankets.
What? Where are you? Where are you, you little?
Andy suddenly breaks from under the bed, grabbing the pass key off the floor and ducks out the door. Chucky screams in rage, leaping off the bed.
No!
Andy races down the corridor as Dr. Ardmore turns the corner.
The boy's escaped. Stop him.
They run. Chucky skids to a halt, staring out at the cracked door at Dr. Ardmore. Andy skids to a halt. Orderlies block the way in front of him. Behind Dr. Ardmore, more orderlies are coming. He jams the pass key into the nearest lock, turning it, and goes. He finds himself on the fire stairs. Dr. Ardmore fishes out the pass key, fumbling it. Chucky peeks out the door, watching as Dr. Ardmore gets the door open, and he and the orderlies dive through it. Andy skids to a halt. He can hear people racing up the stairway. And, you know, they're all running. It's crazy. There's like Benny Hill music playing, going in and out of doors and shit. Andy races down the deserted corridor. It's a total darkness in there. He slides to a halt under a gurney, making himself small as he hears the thunder of adult feet in the hallway outside. Powerful overhead lights snap on, and then Chucky says,
Going somewhere?
He whirls, looking up at the balcony, and Chucky is standing there grinning at him. Andy dives through the door. Chucky launches himself off the railing, landing squarely on his back, smashing Andy to the floor. He goes rolling into a chest of instruments, the chest crashing onto the floor. An array of gleaming scalpels go flying. Andy grabs one, leaping to his feet.
Thought you were going to get away, did you? Well, there's no getting away from me. Not now. Not ever.
Andy spins. Dr. Ardmore enters.
Easy, Andy, easy. You don't need this anymore.
He takes the scalpel from him.
But I do. Chucky's in the room and he's trying to kill me.
Chucky.
No,
Chucky.
sure he is.
Please listen to me. He'll kill you too.
The doctor sets Andy on the operating table, keeping a firm grip on him, and he holds up a hypodermic needle full of Thorazine.
No, please.
This will only hurt for a second.
The doctor raises the needle, about to plunge it down. He looks down in horror at his right leg. A scalpel is buried in his thigh up to his hilt. He drops Andy to the floor. He clutches his thigh. Chucky steps out.
Hello, Doc.
Dr. Ardmore stares.
No, no, no!
Oh, yes, yes, yes!
That's a headset contraption of steel over both the doctor's temples.
Is this what you use to make your crazy patients better? Shock treatments, aren't they called? They used to use them on me once. I don't think they worked. You think they'll work on you?
He turns the panel on, getting ready to shock him.
No!
Yes!
He hits the button, and he gets shocked. Shock,
No!
shock, shock.
You're not cured. Not at all. You need more.
Shock, 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 shock.
Ah! You better yet, Doc? You better yet.
And Dr. Ardmore is injured. No, he dies. Mike and Karen come through the door, walking down the corridor past cops and plainclothes detectives. The coroner is there.
What happens? Jack.
Oh,
Jack.
sorry. Hold on.
Drake!
Excuse me, ma'am. Her kid killed Dr. Ardmore.
What?
Fried him to a crisp with the electric shock machine and escaped.
Escaped where?
We don't know. But I bet she does.
Where's Chucky? Have you seen him around?
Who?
The boy's doll. The
Chucky.
same one we had. The same one we had at the station.
Hold on.
Have you seen him around?
No, of course not. What the hell would he be doing here?
Ugh.
Hey, Mike, where are you going?
They think Andy did it.
I know. That little girl said Chucky had been here. He was looking for Andy.
Where's Andy now?
Well, I'm sure he's at home. That's where I've always told him to go when he's in trouble.
What about a key to get in?
Hidden under the mat.
Come on, we haven't got much time.
They head.
Jack.
Oh, fuck. Hold on. Okay. Hey, Mike, where are you going?
No one answers, and Jack stands staring off into nothing.
That got cut.
Darkness has fallen. Andy goes home. He races towards his room. He runs in, locking the windows, leaning against the wall, breathing hard. In Andy's apartment building, Johnny, a little boy no older than Andy, stops before the apartment building, and he looks up at it, then turns to a doll in his arms. It is Chucky.
Is this it?
This is it.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, a middle-aged couple, pass by.
Hey, Johnny, shouldn't you be getting home? Your mother's gonna worry.
In a minute, Mr. Johnson. Chucky wants me to drop him off here first.
Oh, drink.
Oh,
yeah.
Kids, huh?
Andy's bedroom. Andy races around the bedroom, pulling down all the shades. He's getting shit ready because he knows Chucky's coming. An elderly couple, George and Lucy, stand waiting for the up elevator. Lucy jabs George, nodding at their feet as the elevator rises.
Look, George. Some child has left their doll in the elevator.
Leave it alone. Whoever left it there will come back looking for it.
Oh my God, they're
You
researchers.
sure?
Positive.
Ugly doll.
Andy's bedroom. Andy's still getting shit ready. And the elevator opens. Andy hunkers down. He's doing a lot of hunkering. Chucky steps in the living room looking around. Where's that noise coming from? Then he hears the sound again and looks towards the fireplace. He sees dirt. Oh, yeah, this is Andy looking. He sees dirt dropping from the flue to land on the logs below. He cautiously approaches. Is it Santa Claus? The scraping sound getting closer. He suddenly realizes it's coming from the chimney. He bends over, staring up.
Well, hello there.
He lets go, flying down the chimney directly at Andy. The small boy jerks his head out, stumbling back as Chucky lands in the middle of the fireplace in an explosion of cinders and dust.
Surprise! Want a present? How about me?
He leaps to his feet, his hands held out to Andy. He holds the butcher knife in one of them, and Andy whirls and dashes out of the room.
Now, is that any way to treat someone you love?
Andy races down the hallway into his room, slamming the door behind him. A moment later, Chucky appears around the corner from the living room, walking slowly into the hallway towards the living room to Andy's room. The knife glints in his hand. He yells at the boy's door as he approaches.
You can't run and hide. Wait, you can run and hide. Don't ever forget that. But you can't escape. Not from me. No, you can't, hidey-ho!
He shoves open the door to find himself in a dark room. He can't see anything. He leaps on a chair, flicking on the light switch, and nothing happens. He leaps around the darkness, chuckling loudly.
Playing games, are we? Well, two can play games.
He leaps off the chair and starts across the door, his knife held ready. The door suddenly slams shut behind him, plunging the room into almost total darkness, and he whirls around.
Very funny, but not as funny as you're going to look when you see what I have in mind for you.
There's suddenly a hollow whistle, small but loud. Woo, 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 it goes. The doll stops, looking around. A headlight suddenly pokes out of the dark, stabbing him in his buttony eyes, a chugging sound reaching his ears. He raises his hands to his eyes to see better and yelps. An electric chain is racing out of the darkness directly towards him. He stares down between his feet and he is straddling the track. He goes to move, but he isn't fast enough. The train smashes into him and carrying him back into the far wall, burying him in a train wreck of boxcars, cabooses, and double locomotives.
You've had it, you little asshole. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to do something much worse. I'm going to take over your body.
Whoa.
That's what I'm going to do. So everybody calm down. I'm going to take over your body. Now, where are you?
He begins to stalk the room. Suddenly, he hears tires squeal as they grab for traction, the sound of an engine roaring towards him, twin headlights flashing out of the darkness. He dives to his left, a remote-controlled fire engine, red Ferrari roaring by. I love that all these toys are now harming him.
Laugh at me, will you? Well, I'll give you something to laugh about.
He races across the room, looking into the air. There's just more stuff about Andy bitten him with toys.
You're going to suffer for that. You hear me, you little fucker? Suffer. Suffer.
Andy continues to home alone his ass. He comes through the door only to scream again, throwing his arms up in the air, his legs pumping wildly for balance. He goes flying flat on his back, surrounded by a field of marbles.
And I got my AK-47 squirt gun in my hand.
That's right. He's got his AK-47 that who gave to him? Maggie.
Best present ever. Bomb ant.
Give up and I'll let you live.
Really? That's more than I intend for you.
I mean it. Don't come any closer or I'll shoot.
What are you gonna do? Drown me?
He leaps for Andy's throat. The boy squirts him in the face. Chucky screams in the hall, screaming in pain. They're burning him, his skin beginning to melt and run as the Drano reacts chemically with his plastic skin.
You little shit!
I guess I missed the part where he put Drano in the.
Yeah.
That was just,
Guys, that happened. That
What
happened.
type of 6-year-old knows that?
They're putting a lower third for that.
He leaps off the chair and bounds down the hallway after him. Andy fires at him with a squirt gun again, and the Drano hits the doll in the leg, and he screams.
Surprise! Is that what I'm supposed to say?
No.
You little shit.
I like to think the Drano was in it when I gave it to him.
Actually, I think this is kind of interesting because this is all not in the movie.
No,
but it's kind of
Thank
it's kind of,
God.
the Drano is
Thank
smart.
God.
The Drano is smart. You know, like stuff that would melt plastic is kind of smart.
Did you guys get a hold of a first draft? Just kidding. All right.
Andy, what's that line at the bottom of 110?
Oh, Chucky?
Yeah, there it is. Silence. Andy comes to a halt, staring about the room. No sign of Chucky. He walks the perimeter, keeping his back to the wall. Still no Chucky. He looks at the couch.
Give up and I'll stop shooting you.
Nothing but silence. Just as he lifts his head to rise, the doll appears over the back of the couch above him, slinging the steel loops of the slinky over his neck and pulling it tight.
Surprise!
And he chokes Andy to death and the movie's over. No, I'm kidding. Andy dropped the squirt gun, flailing wildly, trying to get a grip on the slinky. Mike's car screeches to a halt in front of the building. Remember Mike? He's back. They skid to a halt before the elevator. Mike hitting the button. Karen looks up at the floor indicator. The elevator seems caught on the penthouse floor.
Come on!
Chucky turns the unconscious boy over, looking at his face. He lays his plastic ear against his chest, listening to his heart, and he grins.
Good. Still alive.
He puts his hand on his forehead and chants.
Why, vey, I threw that part away. Mecca lecca high, Mecca high. Hail Satan, Prince of Darkness.
Karen and Mike come running up the stairs.
No.
Suddenly booming.
Oh, no.
What?
It's like that night at the toy store. It's happening all over again.
Come on, he started the chant.
He's still chanting.
Oh, let's go.
Lightning.
Lightning, and he's still chanting.
Mecca lecca high.
Alima.
Shabbat shalom.
Karen and Mike burst through the door, rush down the corridor to the front. She yanks on the door only to find it locked.
Andy! Andy! It's me pounding on the door.
More chanting. Mike pushes Karen out of the way and throws his shoulder. The door smashes off its hinges, Mike falling to the floor. Karen rushes by him down the hallway. Chucky glances up at Karen and grabs him by both shoulders, yanking him off the semi-unconscious Andy. Chucky whirls in midair, grabs her by the hair, and sinks his sharp white teeth into her throat. She screams. Mike springs to his feet, grabs his .38 from his shoulder holster, and rushes down the hallway. He bursts in the room to see Karen whirling about and Chucky tearing at her throat. He raises the gun to fire, sees it's useless trying to get a shot off, and rushes forward, grabbing the doll with both hands and tearing it off her. Chucky flies to the floor, bounding to his feet and scooping up his butcher knife that he's dropped there. He rushes across the floor toward Mike, brandishing the knife and screaming like a banshee. He whips it across Mike's cast, slashing him badly with a scream. Mike grabs hold of the knife in both hands and, biting down, pulls it out. Blood darkens his jacket. He grabs his handkerchief, stuffing it underneath his shirt, trying to staunch the bleeding. He looks across the floor at Karen. She is on her knees and hands, ignoring her own pain as she administers CPR to Andy. His little face is blue. Mike lurches to his feet.
Here.
What's this for?
In case I don't get him.
Mike, wait. Yes. I don't know how to use a gun.
Now, stops looking down the hall. Only two ways the doll could have gone: into Karen's room or into Andy's. He starts walking. He flicks on the light, looking about the room. Empty. He painfully gets down on his knees because he got cut, y'all. Nothing there. There is a noise from the bedroom. He whirls. He steps into the bathroom, flicking on the light. All white linoleum and enamel and nothing but silence. Then he hears it. Something coming from behind the shower curtain. Tightening his grip on his pistol, he whips it back. It's just the faucet. He crosses the room towards the hall. He stops in the hall, looking. Chucky has to be there. He limps towards it. He passes the door. It's ajar. He stops looking at it. Maybe he's in there. Maybe Chucky's in there. Who knows? He whips it open. Mike peers at the shelves, rising to the ceiling and the cleaning utensils at the floor. Nothing. He turns back to Andy's room. A lot of looking around the house. Chucky suddenly throws off the sheets and towels that had hidden him. Rearing up behind him on a high shelf in the linoleum closet, Andy's baseball bat is in his hand, and Mike hears him, but it's too late. He spins just as the baseball bat comes crashing down on the back of his head. It drops to the floor. Chucky leaps off the shelf onto Mike's back, lifting the bat about to strike, but a shot rings out. A hole is blown in his leg. It's Karen, y'all.
Woo! Take that, you little bastard.
She aims it at Chucky, pulling the trigger again. The gun jams, the trigger refusing to pull, and a slow grin spreads across Chucky's face.
What's wrong? Gun jam?
Springs to his feet. Karen jumps back in the living room. Chucky turns the corner of the room with the bat held high in hand. Karen steps out from the wall, slamming the fireplace poker with all her might into his chest. He goes flying across the room, slams into the wall, and hits the floor with a hard thud. He lays there, momentarily stunned, and Karen drops the poker, rushing to the fireplace, turning on the gas. Behind her, Chucky's baby blues suddenly snap open and looks up at her with a snarl.
Bitch!
There it is.
Cheers.
Hey. He struggles to his feet as she grabs the fireplace screen and dashes towards him. Just as she stands, she slams it into his screen, carrying him across the room and into the fireplace. She stops there, her back against the screen, holding him in place as her hands desperately search the hearth for the matches. Inside the fireplace, Chucky goes crazy, screaming and hurling. Her hand grabs a box of matches. She fumbles one out, strikes it, and comes to life.
That me? No!
Yes!
Puts the lit match and screams in the fireplace, hits the doll, and Chucky explodes into flames. Within the fireplace, the burning doll goes crazy, throwing himself against the screen, bounding off it again and again. Karen stands across the room. Suddenly, he heaves himself with a maniacal force against the screen, busting it loose. Chucky, a flaming torch, steps out on the living room. He looks at her, laughing wildly.
See, I told you, nothing can kill me.
He starts towards her, her flaming arms held out. His flaming arms held out to give her a kiss of death. Karen pulls out Mike's gun, aiming it at Chucky in desperation and pulling the trigger repeatedly, the gun refusing to work.
Doesn't work. Remember?
The gun suddenly goes off, the bullet catching him in the shoulder, blowing his arm off. The burning arm goes whirling across the room and lands on the sofa. Chucky ignores it. He keeps coming at her. Chucky crashes to the floor, the flames beginning to die and just lick at his body now. He grins up at her and begins to drag himself one-armed across the floor towards her. Chucky crawls. Jack Santos and several patrolmen come bursting from the elevator.
Mike!
Chucky is just about to strike down with a knife when Mike steps out of the hallway behind him. The doll's dropped bat in his hand. He swings with all his might, catching the doll square against the side of his head. Chucky's round plastic head goes flying off. The burning head goes flying down the hallway, striking an armoire and bounding down the hall just as Jack enters. Chucky's head strikes Jack. Chucky sinking his teeth deep into the back of his ankle. With a scream of pain, the cop goes down. Karen shakes her head to clear it. Looking up at Mike, he leans against the wall, blood running down his leg from the knife wounds.
It's all right, Andy. It's all right.
Behind her, the headless, one-armed, one-legged dog torso sits up.
Karen, behind you!
He turns to see the headless torso pushing itself across the floor.
Fuck you, you little prick.
The head suddenly lots loose of Jack, rolling to a stop a few feet away, the mouth suddenly speaking loud enough for Karen to hear.
No! Don't shoot me! I'm your friend to the end, remember?
Yeah, sure. And this is the end, friend.
She pulls the trigger, the bullet blowing a hole in Chucky's chest right where his human heart is. Blood flies as the doll slams back against the wall, and he sinks to the ground dead, smoke still rising off his charred body. Dead, just like Andy's dad. In the hallway, Chucky's head sparks one last time.
I love you. Heidi-ho!
It runs down.
He's still dying, guys.
Okay, well, it's done. It's over. Right.
It runs down like a broken record, ending in silence. Jack is staring at it in horror. Mike draws Karen up in his arms, hugging her and Andy tightly. He proposes marriage. Not really.
Andy, you have a new daddy.
He's got a new daddy. Really? Karen hugs
New
you back.
daddy now, Andy.
Andy looks back and forth happily between the two of them. A cop is putting the pieces of Chucky up on a shelf. One arm, one leg, the torso and head. Jack Santos watches.
That little fucker's alive.
The eyes are gone, just two empty sockets staring at him.
Are you kidding me? This thing was never alive. And even if it was, sure as hell isn't now.
I tell you it's alive. I can feel it.
Come on. I'll buy you a drink.
He grabs Jack, pushing him out of there, turning off the light, plunging the room into darkness. He closes the door behind them. Nothing is heard but the fly buzzing about. Then suddenly a hand slap. The buzzing stops. Complete silence.
Different ending.
That last scene is awful. I'm so glad that last scene is not in the movie.
But guys, Chucky ate a fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does the movie end? I've never seen it.
Well, in the movie, Andy says, "This is the end.
This is the end, friend."
Yeah.
Exactly. It's that. It's like I'm your friend to the end.
Also,
This
85% of that doesn't
friend.
happen in the movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy how different.
Very different than the movie.
Yeah.
There's a
Dead
friend
dad.
cop too. There's a friend cop who's there and he gets strangled.
That's Jack Santos.
That's Jack. That's
Jack.
how Jack ends. Yeah.
That's Jack. That's Jack that gets.
Yeah. Jack's being strangled at the end. Yeah.
Billy Ray, they're
Probably
considering it
thinking
was
because his name is Santos, and in the movie he's certainly not Hispanic.
No.
No, but I'm saying a second cop comes in at the end.
In the script. No, that's Jack.
Yeah, he just wasn't set up at all earlier. None of the scenes at the start happened with him. He just pops in at the end, basically.
You're still
Yeah, I
drinking.
know.
Yeah, I'm still drinking.
Look,
Ray.
guys, you should see my stack of beers. I think I won the drinking competition of this part. I have 9 empty beers in 2 hours.
9?
God.
But what are they?
But they're natty lights. They're natty lights.
All right, natty lights. So you've been drinking.
Yeah, come on. You're not drinking.
That's like 2 regular beers.
I got all that you could ever want. But anyway.
That's great. You might as well have a Camelback with water.
Billy Ray, the people on social media picked bitch as a drink word, but there were only like 2 of them in the script. Were there a lot of did the doll just improv a lot of bitches on set?
I think when you're Brad Dourif, you probably just like saying bitch. No offense to Brad Dourif.
I watched
No,
the movie-
clearly.
I watched the movie yesterday. I felt like there was like 4 in the movie yesterday.
Okay, so not that many.
Yeah, I don't think there's many, but I don't think there were enough Chuckies.
There were plenty of Chuckies. Billy Ray, obviously this was incredible, but if people want to be able to go see films in art house cinemas after we are allowed to go back to films
Good
at some
segue,
point
Clay.
here, they should donate to tonight's charity. It is the Art House America campaign, started by Criterion, and we can still get them donations. It is paypal.me/Scripts Gone Wild, and tonight we have an angel donor who's going to match donations. And Billy Ray, you said up to 3 days, is that
For
right?
the next 72 hours. So
okay, 72 hours from right now. So this will go up on YouTube. So if you're watching this in the next couple of days, if you make that donation, our angel donator will match it and support independent cinemas across this country. Places like AMC can declare bankruptcy and restructure and, sneak their way through any sort of financial thing. But independent cinemas can't do that. So if we want to support them, make that donation and make sure we have those places for us to celebrate cinema when this is all over.
Yeah,
Yay! Good
great.
job, everybody.
Good, Clay.
Billy Ray, weren't you saying if we hit like $250,000 tonight that Turek will reveal the Halloween Kills script?
Oh.
I heard that.
You're saying that, right? I feel like you were saying that.
Sitting right back here on this shelf.
Oh, that's a tease. Oh, that's just a tease.
Fuck.
I can almost see it. I can almost see it.
Well, I'm going to give the audience kind of the last minute spiels here so they know. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet or liked this video, please do that now. Like and subscribe, as they say. Remember, Sunday we have a reading of John Carpenter's The Thing at 7 p.m. Chattanooga Film Festival. That one's going to be insane. If you don't know, we started at Chattanooga Film Festival back in 2017, so it's our home festival. We're super glad to be back there. And next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., we are back to our regular time and day, and we have a reading of The Breakfast Club, which could be a lot of fun. That's got Gigi Saul Guerrero, Tate Ellington, Kimmy Shields, Aaron LaPlante, lots of fun people. We're on all the socials at Scripts Gone Wild, and you can support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Scripts Gone Wild. One more time, I'm going to give our readers Julie Benz, William Butler, Dr. Rebekah McKendry, Elric Kane, Kelsey Stardust, Forbes, who sounds much better without the AirPods, Christian Stella,
Child's Play 2,
Jared Rivet, Brian Gillespie, and our co-host for the night, Mr. Clay Keller. Guys, thank you all so much for doing this with us.
Thank you.
We hope
Thank
you guys
you. Yeah, so much fun.
I have to pee.